What's
Hey,
up?
everybody! Welcome to the show.
I'm Sal.
Tiffany.
Today we're going to be talking about comic books and, of course, New York Comic Con. There's so much to get to. Not a lot of time. I don't know what I'm talking about. It's our show. It's our time. We can talk about whatever we want for as long as we want to, but we will need to order some dinner at some point so that we can eat later. But
It's already done.
what? Oh, well, then we got all the time in the world. We got a time machine.
I already ordered dinner.
You're amazing.
You don't even know what we're having.
No, I don't. All right. So we just got back from New York Comic Con. We're a little punchy. Let's give it a little post-con, post-mortem. Talk a little bit about the convention. Then we'll talk about some of the news that came out of Comic Con. And then we'll talk about some comics. Of course, this show is sponsored by viewers like you. You watch the show live. You can sponsor today's show by using Super Chats. Ask a question or comment. Read it here on the show. Be part of the show forever. You're like the third member of the channel.
And we're happy you're here.
We're thrilled that you're here. We're really excited to see. Of course, this is a great group here, and we got to meet some of you great people at New York Comic Con, and that, I think for me, was at least one of the top two highlights of the show was our meetup, which was quite successful. We had Friday and Saturday. Tiffany was able to go to both of them, so that worked out great.
Yes, surprise.
Yeah,
for everybody.
Yeah, to be sure, but a welcome one. But I'm thrilled that we got a chance to meet so many of you lovely, incredible people, and got to sign a bunch of copies of Terminator. Thank you so much for giving me that opportunity, and most thanks go to Tiffany, Ben, and Ethan for attending this and continuing to do this with us for this many years. But yeah, so how did you feel about New York Comic Con? Do you want to start, or do you want me to start? Do you want me to like kind of break the ice about my personal feelings about New York Comic Con?
Maybe, I don't know. I'll just be like, it was, I always enjoy going.
I'm always excited about going.
I'm always excited about going. There were some highlights and some low moments certainly for this con for me. But that said, I will start it off on a positive note. We actually had 2 Saturday passes that we didn't need, and I was able to sell those to a colleague of mine. Yeah. I will put it out there. We sold them for the ticketed price. Actually, he got a great deal because I realized he didn't have to pay for fees or tax.
Nope.
They're like, we don't do math over here. So I was just like, the ticketed price is that. So just give us that. So he did.
Yep.
But that said, this colleague of mine, I was able to take his teenage son. And they went together, and I saw him today, and he gave me a high five because he's like, we had the best time ever. And I ran to them on the floor one time on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
And I will say, that is rejuvenating to see that, because it was just it has such an impact on them to be able to go and do this together as father and son. And I was like, that's just really cool.
It is really cool. That's really
there
really
definitely
sweet.
Were some things this year in particular that I was like, oh.
Yeah, I was remarking to a colleague today regarding my post-mortem feeling about New York Comic Con, and it's just that I always love this show, and I think it's more because I remember loving this show. I have a lot of amazing memories associated with this show, and a lot of first-time experiences that would not have happened were it not for this show.
Mm-hmm.
But I have to remember that I've been going to this show since 2006, and so I appreciate this show, and I think that I just remember liking it certainly more than it has morphed into over the years. I can remember a time when we just kind of wandered into the Cup of Joe panel and actually watching Marvel Apes be born before our very eyes, and the panel being one of the largest panel rooms in the convention center, and it being sparsely populated and not having to work about any, and we could leave and come and go as we pleased. It was a really obviously, we're talking about almost a 20-year removed convention. So there's going to be some stark differences, but overall, the real problems were just with organization and logistics. This show in particular, and I thought it was a little it always seems more crowded than usual, and a lot of the reactions to that, I think, are felt because it's being compared to things like San Diego Comic-Con or any of the other shows. But, I went to C2E2 this year, and C2E2, it just felt a little empty. It was in a similarly, convention center, not like the Javits, but to one you're used to. And it just seemed a little empty, and it seemed a little sparse. And I was like, but New York it never feels empty. It always feels crowded. You're on top of each other. And I think it has everything to do with what we've talked about over the years when we compare it to San Diego, which is that there's nothing else to do outside of the show. And so everything happens within the Javits. And the Javits is just a woefully, poorly constructed building that doesn't allow for maneuverability, for flow, and for comfort. It's just despite the glass, it is a big, like, it's a clusterfuck of a show.
It is. It definitely is. And I am not at all suggesting that the issue is that they sell too many tickets, because other conventions are large and they're able to handle it. It's just, there is a overall just lack of ability to control the flow.
Yeah.
At any point in time.
At any time, right? Like from the floor to the basement to the artist alley, I saw more than a few people. And when I say more than a few people, I mean, like, I saw, like, there was a subreddit that kept getting pushed to me, which is r/NYCC. And there was like a 50 plus commented, or rather upvoted thread that was just like, I didn't go to Artist Alley because it was just too crowded. Like, people would just go down the escalator, see the crowd, and go, nope.
100%. There was a point where we had to go down there, and we were going down on Saturday, and like, I was like, I don't know how you can move down here. And a lot of that has to do with just the sheer number of tables that are down there, which is fantastic. Let's be honest. If you're walking around there, not during the peak hours of the day, because we'll talk about a little bit about like some things that I happen to notice like throughout the whole of Saturday in particular. But it's just that part of it, I think, has to do with the way in which they deal with the big artists. And the big writers. And I appreciate the concept of putting them in the back. I appreciate that, because they're trying to make
flow, get everybody to see everybody.
Everybody to get in there and pay attention and look around. But it just ends up choking everything towards the back, or everybody just trying to get back there. And I just feel like maybe instead of like, I know they got the huge hall. So the issue is like, we got these 3 bays down there. Back there used to be like not that, but they've completely changed that other section.
The organization of where people go. And
yes. It almost seems honestly like the biggest stars that they have, right? The biggest stars who probably are all sold out.
Right.
So you don't have to worry about the fact that someone's going to roll up and get like a signature.
You're talking about the autographing area.
I'm talking about the autographing and the photo op area, because there's 2 of those. There's the photo op area that was in one very distinct area, and then there was the autograph area, and
which has nothing to do with Artist Alley.
Right, but I'm like, why wouldn't they attempt to move some of those into the panel room? If you've bought a ticket for your photo op, you're gonna find out where that is. You're going to go there. That has nothing to do with foot traffic.
No,
you just want to get that right. And if you want to highlight that, find a way to encourage people to go to that other part of the building where they have the panel rooms, right? I'm like, but if you could move like the biggest, like some of the sketch art people, not all of them, but some of them, you could like take over some of that area that you have just for photo ops. I just feel like that would help. Yeah.
I just remember seeing like a different format for, just in terms of spacing, and they've done it better before.
No, I feel like they have too. And like, I honestly feel really, really badly for the volunteers and the staff. Because like it feels like they're just woefully unprepared for this, and I don't blame them. I honestly I don't think.
But they're also routinely unprepared, and at some point you have to be prepared for being unprepared. Like, you have to at least be like, hey, before we get started, before it's 6 months from now, before it's 8 months from now, let's take an inventory of what consistently fails us.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, I'm not saying that ReedPop failed them. I mean, completely. The staff and the crew, because the crew, a lot of them, it's like, this is my first time volunteering.
Oh yeah.
What are they supposed to know? Like, they're going into this, never done it before.
Exactly.
Or even if it's something new, maybe you're not in the same place you were.
Remember when you used to be a volunteer?
I did that one year, time, and
you volunteered in your Comic Con.
But I had nothing to do with that area. I was in the panel room.
No, but you were doing different things. Easier. Would you ever do it again? Looking at this, like the way this is organized, like that was something where we did New York Comic Con. You're like, this is kind of fun.
No.
Maybe I'll participate.
No.
And then, 10 years removed from that, going I would never. Just because like they get so beaten up, and I don't mean like physically, but I mean like emotionally, verbally.
Yeah, like there's no reason for it. And part of it, I had this like really, like, obviously everyone else recognizes this, but I had this like sort of like moment, this like, coming to the Lord kind of moment there, where I was like, people are really angry, and like not everyone. There were a ton of people there who
were having the greatest time ever.
Super nice, just enjoying the hell out of themselves. And then there were other people who were not. And I realized that part of that had to do with the fact that if you had like 2-3 people going, you spent $75 per person to go there.
Just to go.
And to be trapped, essentially.
Yeah.
And so like I can understand people getting like frustrated more quickly.
Easily.
You know, when it wasn't as expensive.
Yes, when it was not so expensive, you could justify decisions you made. I saw one of those ideas from TikTok, one of these trends, like where it's like, I'm going to this thing, I'm going to spend $20. And then at the end of the day, and one of them, which was more viral than most, was like, everyone said they were going to spend between $40 and $60. All of them spent over $150 at the convention. And I bet that was, well, number one, that's the reason why New York Comic Con is always so successful, is because everyone goes, everyone's like, this is a unique experience, this is new for me, or at the very least, this is special to me. I'm going to make it special. I'm going to spend extra. And we're at a time where like things are even more expensive than they've ever been. But, you know, I can see why like Reed doesn't have any incentive to change anything they're doing, because they're like, well, it costs money, time, effort, research, and all these different factors to come up with a solution, which really we don't have because there's only so much room. We just finished doing the annex on the Javits, not Reed, but like, you know, the Javits in general. And, you know, we didn't like, there's the River Pavilion, the completely new area. And they were like, well, we'll just expand the main floor into that area and we're done. And the River Pavilion will continue to be empty.
Right. Now, there's a question about if volunteers get paid. I don't believe so. I don't.
You weren't.
I wasn't, but that was some time ago. My payment was I got a ticket to go, basically.
Right.
I think it was just for one day too. and that's very fair. I worked one day. I got a ticket to go one day.
Yeah.
So like I also like, before we continue to talk about some things I wasn't a fan of, I do want to talk about some things that I was a big fan of.
Absolutely.
I was a huge fan of meeting many creators there. Let me just tell you right now, if you ever chance to talk to Kieran Gillen, she's one of the most charming, kind people I have had the opportunity to talk with. When I say like having a genuine conversation, like he listened to me. You know what I mean? Even if I was just telling him how great he was, it wasn't.
I would listen to.
It wasn't because of that. It was just because that's the type of person he is.
Yeah, active listener.
He's an active listener. He's like, you're talking to me, I'm gonna listen to what you have to say. And I really valued that, and it was just so welcomed. He was just kind of along the wall with Casper Wingard, and I just gotta tell you, just what just a genuine human interaction. And sometimes when you're in a place like that, like you need that. It's just so refreshing.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows how long? I think I met him on Friday. Was it Friday?
Yeah.
I don't know. But like, you know, he's already like at least a day into it, and it's a lot to table, right? And there he was, and I over the weekend I would see him occasionally, and he had the same type of energy.
Yep.
Where it's just like he was there because like this mattered to him, and like people wanting to talk to him about his work mattered to him.
Right.
And I was like, that's really, really cool. And like that was just so like beautiful.
Yeah.
Right. I loved chatting with Jason Aaron, who didn't make it weird when I brought him an issue of Conan. Because like sometimes creators are like, I did that.
That was a time in my life. It's over.
Right. Or not even just that, but it's just like, oh, don't you like anything of my new stuff? Like, no, he literally was like, thank you for bringing this. Like, he was just like, that's really cool. And we chatted a little bit about his love of Conan. And he actually was like, I'm doing like this independent book, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, check it out. And I was like, I'll do that. But like, you know, and when we were all said and done, now, by the way, it's not like he knew who I was. We actually, Sal did have an interview, but we hadn't done it yet. So I was just a person coming up to his table.
Yep.
And like, he made sure to go like, what was your name? Or what is your name? Like, you know, it was just I guess what I'm saying is it was the genuine human interactions that made me remember what New York Comic Con was really supposed to be all about. It was like not only meeting creators that you like are like a fan of, or you know, just always want to ask a question of, and having that interaction, but having genuine interactions with other fans. Like there definitely were some like moments where like we were in an elevator with this woman and her father who he had some sort of, I think, surgery or something.
So he needed a mobility device,
but he had fought her on it and like was in it. And we were like on the way down, we were just commiserating about
it was like early afternoon, and it was clear that he was like, thank you. Like, I'm glad we did this.
He was glad we did this, but I had this genuine interaction with this woman over it. And it was just nothing, like, who cares, whatever, like, you know, it's on for best friends now. But it's just nice. You know, you're in this space with people who have common interests, and to have an interaction like that. Oh, like I was at oh, I can't remember the artist's name, but they did like they had a million covers, like million variant covers, and they do all sorts of like especially Marvel variant covers, and they had them all set up. And I was just kind of glancing around, and this guy came around. He worked with the artist, and he was just like, "Hey, if you have any questions, let me know." Blah 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 blah. And then note that I had a press thing, and I was carrying like a big case full of like gear, and he was just like, "Oh, you like shopping, buying, or you just like kind of looking around?" I was like, "I'm really just looking around." And he's like, "No, it's fine." And we just started chatting, and he was like, "Oh, I'm from Hawaii." Like he just was like telling me about his day and like telling me about his story, and like nothing weird about it. Nothing like it wasn't like it was like he was like, and no, like literally just like, "Hey,
yeah,
man,
this is who I am.
this is who I am, and like it's really nice to meet you. Cool,
yeah,
bye."
Right.
And like I was like, this is what I like. This is what I like about this place.
That's what I think. That's what like people who don't have like a. When I say an agenda, I mean like an actual, point by point agenda like we do, where it's like, oh, I'm going to interview these people, I'm going to meet these creators, I'm going to have like these conversations, I'm hopefully going to set up new relationships and work out new stuff for the organization. When you don't have that, when you're just going because you're a fan, those are the most important things. It's just meeting new people and creating these interactions and just getting a chance to like have genuine human relationships.
I mean, like I had an opportunity because Sal like did purchase the ticket for me to meet Mike Flanagan, which was like something that was really like that was the thing. We met a bunch of people, and like we met Kyle MacLachlan and we met Michael Ironside, and the Mike Flanagan one. I was like Sal was in line with me. I was nervous.
You were genuinely nervous.
I was
the Kyle MacLachlan thing was just kind of like there he is, and then we talked to him.
And it was great, and it was wonderful.
He has soft but firm hands, by the way. Just didn't want to confirm that.
If you wanted to know,
he's also an attentive listener. He was very there, but also like the kind of good and bad was like I think based on our experience doing the autograph thing, I'll never do it again.
Right.
But with the Mike Flanagan situation, it's like, well, maybe I'll only do one every 2 years.
Right. Or something like that. But honestly, like that was like, I was so nervous, and he was just such a nice person.
Yes.
He was just such a nice person. And I mean, like it was just again one of those where I was just like, it's okay to do this, by the way. When you go up there, he's like, "How are you?" And I was like, "I'm nervous." And he's like, "No, it's okay."
That actually helped to like put you in a different mindset, because instead of trying to like force yourself to be in another place like emotionally, you were able to kind of like cut through any tension that might have occurred and put him in a position where he's like, oh, well, then let me help disarm you.
Yeah, exactly. And so that was really, really nice. And I got to pitch him on like I mentioned that like I grew up playing like Silent Hill, and like how much that like type of storytelling really drew me to his style. And he was like, "Oh, Silent Hill, it's so scary."
Yeah.
And I was like,
you were like, "Oh, good. This is my in. When are you going to make the Silent Hill movie or show?"
I was like, "One day I hope you work with Konami on something." He was like, that'd be a dream.
That'd be a dream.
I'm like,
and you're like, "That's good to hear." You're like, "All right." See?
I'm like, I wish I had any connections to anything.
Yeah.
But yeah. So I mean, like, great stuff there. Now, I definitely had such a negative interaction, or like not interaction. I had a negative experience on Thursday that I legitimately almost didn't want to go again the rest of the weekend. And it was just one of those things where it's like it took me a minute or two to piece together what had happened and why I was so affected by it. But I've come to terms with it. I have definitely come to terms with it. And maybe you've heard about what had happened, but like Alex Hirsch decided he was going to do 2 autograph sessions, and that it was going to be limited to a certain number of people, but it was going to be free. Which I get where he's coming from, but it's like he doesn't know who he is, or no one around him realized what a disaster that would be. And New York Comic Con was not prepared to handle that. And when I say that, I mean like there was a volunteer down there, and this woman, like I felt so bad for her because she's a volunteer, and like she is literally just trying to keep back the masses because they determined what was going to happen. It was going to be a ticketed event. And so you had to get there at a certain time, but they didn't tell you about that.
Nope.
And no one could actually line up for it. They wouldn't allow for a line, which I was like, why?
But they did allow for a crowd.
Well,
because there's nothing you can do about it.
Well, what they did was they were like, well, you can't wait here and you can't wait there. And like people wouldn't leave. And it was a mob. And when I say that they like ended up having to bring down 4 security guys, like big guys, like think Benny.
Yeah.
Bigger. Those kind of guys down there in that line. And then they just were like, okay.
Right.
Like I have never in my life regretted doing something more than that.
Right, something that you wanted to do for yourself that would be, like, I guess, on paper, fun.
Right? Like, that was one of those where it was, you know how they always say, like, you don't regret doing things?
Yeah.
That was it,
Yeah.
right? I was, like, in that crowd. I had a bag, like, a little paper bag of stuff that I ended up just holding up over my head because when I say, like, most people we were not actively moving. We were being moved. And I inevitably got in to the line. I got a ticket. And then they were like, well, you come back at this time and we'll begin lining up. And the time to come back was 3.
Right.
And so I came back at 3 and was told to come back at 3:30. And I came back at 3:30 and I was told to come back at 4. I came back at 4 and I was told to come back at that point at 5.
And you have to understand that following the signing, he was also doing like a panel. And so he would have to leave.
His panel, I think, was at 6:30.
Right.
And I was told back to come back at 5:30. And so essentially what had happened was they had opened the gates to being like, you can have more than one thing signed and whatever.
And do photos.
And like, whatever. And so, like, the rest of us that, like, essentially followed the rules and, like, just kept coming back when we were told to because we weren't allowed to line up. We got there and we were rushed through the line. And when I say rushed, I technically saw Alex Hirsch and I got a signature.
Right, but he didn't see you.
And the person in front of me made sure that they got to say what they wanted to. And the person behind me was actually their friend. And they just basically sandwiched in front of me. I didn't say anything to him. I got to the end of the line. And then me and this girl had to figure out whose book was whose. Because when I say Hirsch just, like, scribbled in it, which is fine. This is free. I'm not upset with him. I'm actually not even upset with New York Comic Con because they didn't ask to do this. Right? I am actually really upset with everyone that was in the line ahead of them because essentially what everyone else determined was that this was their movie. And I'm not, like, being like, I'm really upset that blah, 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 blah. I am also upset for every person that was around me, for the children that were around me, for the families that came in costume. I'm upset for all of them. I'm upset for all of us because everyone else decided that their needs to have a 20-minute interaction was more important than having a 5-minute interaction, being happy with that, and then letting someone else have an experience. And that's not to say that you shouldn't take your shots and you shouldn't go for things.
Yeah, but your shot isn't normally more than 5 minutes.
Right.
Or so.
But much like when you're driving, you need to remember that there are people behind you and that, like, they're just as valuable and they're just as, you know, much a human being who deserves to have something.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, it was bad. And, like, honestly, in those last, like, 40 minutes of standing in the line, there was this gentleman there and he was a full-grown adult, much older adult. And he was having a meltdown about people cutting lines.
Yeah.
Like, that's where we had gotten at this point, right? And it just was like, I am sure there are so many people out there who had the greatest day of their lives there.
Right.
And the rest of us felt like, man, that was like, that really sucks.
Right.
And, you know, like, all I wanted to say was like, hey, thanks for whatever. Yeah. That's it. I'm not looking for anything else.
No, it would have been just a very brief, but hopefully meaningful experience. And I will say that because of the nature of the crowd, because of how it was functioning, which was
legitimately kind of scary.
No one filmed it, so a lot of that experience.
We weren't allowed to,
right? Because, like, so what we're seeing a lot of in social media is like how it was handled afterwards. Like, we're seeing a lot of the first parts. We're seeing a lot of interactions with people and the selfies, and we're seeing people bringing things that were mailed to them when they were 12 years old at the panels and whatnot, and all these glowingly positive experiences, which I'm glad exist. But also they're ignoring and overwriting the whole, like, mess that it took to get there.
Also because those people don't want to acknowledge the fact that they were the problem.
Right.
Like, everyone, I'm so thrilled for all of you. I really am. Like, I think that's really awesome. But, like, your, like, complete experience, your total joy was at the expense of a whole lot of folks behind you.
Yeah.
And, like, I don't know how to feel about that, and I don't know how they feel about that. I'm sure they tell me to stop making them feel bad.
Well, and I saw an interesting point of view in the subreddit, actually, of all places, in a completely different example where they were talking about Chris Claremont. Claremont loves to talk, and if you get him going, he'll go forever. And someone was basically just like, hey, just a heads up, I know that Chris Claremont's an awesome guy, and I really appreciate that you have wanted to talk to him for 30 years, but there are other people on the line, and you need to remember that, because like I waited an hour and a half and I was like 8th in line. And they were downvoted into oblivion, and the responses were kind of like, this is my first and only chance to get to talk to Chris Claremont. I'm going to take it, and I really don't care. And it was just this like really interesting perspective, because like on one hand, I appreciate the value of being like, I only have one chance.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, is your chance more valuable than the other?
Right.
And is there a way to mitigate that chance from going into a 20-minute conversation that is in a different environment? I understand if you bumped into Chris Claremont and you had a 20-minute conversation, which I've heard tons of stories about. Now, and replace Chris Claremont with anyone you want to meet.
Yeah.
But there's another when it's a transactional line where it's like, you know, you get to say there's an etiquette involved. But that's another element to con that is like kind of like, because of the nature of the when you add more people to an equation. I mean, there's a Men in Black line that I think everyone is thinking of. It's on the tip of their tongue every time they think about it, where it's like, you know, a person is smart, people are dangerous and noisy, and you know, and they're animals. And I'm not saying that like people were animals at this con, but I am saying that like the more people you add to the equation, the more complicated and chaotic it could get.
So this literally made me think of the Peach Momoko thing.
Well, and that happened again, by the way. There were fist fights at the Peach Momoko Spawn variant signing, which caused, you know, which is like, of course there was. And that's just going to be the norm now. Because apparently people just can't handle themselves. That being said, you should point out that, like, you know, the Peach Momoko variants, that some of them managed to get online immediately. I think they were like, they were significantly reduced in value when they were being sold. Like, I think they were $50 or $60. They were being sold for like $300, $400 on the internet, like within less than an hour.
Of course.
And it's just like, I don't know. I appreciate that, like, there is that cottage industries have been birthed out of the monetization of everything, and that, like, you know, like Twitter would have you believe that, like, if you like there was a guy at like the Absolute Comics or the Absolute Batman signing who got the first sketch variant of Absolute Batman ever, and he did like a little selfie with it, and then sold it for $300 on eBay within an hour.
Right.
Twitter would have you believe that sucks. But I heard conversations about that with people from industry pros on down who were like, get your money. Like, genuinely, like, people who you would think you're arguing on their behalf, saying, I mean, good for them. And I'm like, is it?
I mean, like, that is like that. But like, this was just people not caring about anyone but themselves at the front of the line. And like, I understand that it could have been families, it could have been younger folks, it could have been just folk who don't think about it, but all that mattered to them was that they got theirs.
Right. Which like the most frustrating thing is, it's the same, you know, your car analogy. If you all follow the rules, we'll all get there faster.
Yep.
And it's like, the problem is that there were no clearly defined rules. That it is all about like your like the social contract.
Yeah. I mean, like, part of me was like, after that, I was like, I felt like I was punished for following the rules by like doing the thing to make the people who like were volunteering and working their lives easier. Oh, by the way,
and the people behind you,
and the people behind me. And admittedly, during all of this, a girl like collapsed in line. And they had to bring medical attention and just the whole thing, right? All of it fell apart. But then afterwards, like, I was like legitimately like, no, I'm not. I did what I wanted to do in that moment. Like, I wanted to be true to myself. You know, like, Peter Parker would tell me I was a good person for doing that, or like would be like okay with me doing it. And I'm not saying those people are bad people. I'm really not. I'm just saying, like, if you're ever in a situation like that, where it's like, there's this cool free thing that's going on, or like you're in a line to talk to someone, like, yes, by all means, have your moment, enjoy that moment. but remember the fact that there's someone behind you that also wants a moment.
Yeah.
And just because they want a moment doesn't take away from the moment you're going to have, but just don't overdo it.
Yeah.
You know? Like,
Absolutely.
Just like we don't eat 1,000 Hershey bars. I don't even eat one because I'm not a fan of them. Like when you overdo it, it's just
you ruin the experience.
You ruin it, you know, and then it just sucks, right?
Exactly.
But other than that, I love going to the con with you. I love going through Artist Alley. Talked with Aaron Campbell.
That was great.
I got to look through his portfolio. He brought I'm sure he had others. I only looked at the first one, or the one that was sitting on top.
Mm-hmm.
He brought all of the art from issue 3 of Hellblazer Dead in America. And it was just amazing to look at. I actually watched someone buy a piece from him.
Nice.
And I was like, which one did you get? I was like, oh, it's good. That's what I'm talking about. Those are the human interactions I want. I got to watch a person, and I was happy to wait in line. I was happy to wait my turn because he was having a moment. His moment was he was buying this piece of art. And I just was like, I interjected myself only to congratulate him on it. And he was like, oh, there's someone behind me. And guess what? He took his art, he thanked Aaron, and he moved on.
Right. And that wasn't you trying to tell him to
I
move
wasn't.
On.
I legitimately
that was you
was
saying it was you being being part of it.
Yeah, I was like, dude, he just dropped some real money on that, and good for you, man. That's a really great piece that you bought. And it was just nice.
Yeah. No, I will say that nearly every single interaction on Artist Alley was 100% fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody was, of course, as you'd imagine in comics, was magnanimous and kind and friendly. We did an interview with Scott Snyder and Jason Aaron. It's actually up on this channel now. You can check it out as a new thumbnail. Hopefully that'll help it out a little bit better. But it is a fun little conversation because, it was facilitated by a fellow creative who was like, hey, wouldn't it be cool to get the writers of the 2 biggest books of the year together in one space and talk about the celebration of comics, which is all that we're trying to do. And we did. And it was a really good experience. And they were great. There's a comment in there where someone had a negative experience where they felt like Jason Aaron wasn't as he wasn't as excited. He seemed like he wasn't as enthusiastic, and that they kind of internalized that. But I can tell you that Jason Aaron is a very understated gentleman, and maybe that interaction you had was more, especially if you compare it to somebody like Scott or other carnival barkers like myself, you're going to see a much more excited character. But Jason's, he's from the Midwest, and he's a quiet, subdued dude, and he's just going to be a little bit less. But otherwise,
but I also don't want to diminish that feeling because, I've had interactions with people before where I'm just kind of like, ooh, that wasn't good.
It rubbed me the wrong way. Sometimes that happens. I've certainly had that.
I recognize the fact that I can't let that be my only interpretation of that person.
Yes.
Because the fact is, I don't know what was going on right then and there. If I were to have another interaction with them at another point in time and it was very similar, then I'm like,
I get a better idea.
Maybe it's not,
maybe
right?
It's not me.
Yeah. Because I said, I had a very good interaction with him, but they could have been 2 totally different days.
Could have been 2 different days.
And maybe he talked to him on Thursday.
Yeah.
And it was he just got off the plane.
I will say, Wednesday, they advertised it as a kind of previews day, a special, the con is open on Wednesday.
Right.
And I can tell you that it was straight up not. That in fact the con was being put up on Wednesday.
That makes sense. That's
if you walk the floor, everyone's putting up their booths. It was just, no, you got an extra day to put up your stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And people were taking advantage of that day. So if you were walking around, I wasn't one of those people, by the way, because I wasn't allowed in. But I heard from reliable sources who worked that day, who wandered that show, that A, there were no interactions to be had. B, there was no merchandise to be purchased. C, there was no floor to be seen because they were erecting stages at that time.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was a complete fabrication. It was just a straight up lie.
Well, yes and no. I'm sure the retailers.
Yeah, that was retailers' day.
Well, I meant if retailers' day, meaning they're getting set up, but some of the retailers sometimes will do exchanges of things.
It could be that they were doing that.
Maybe they were doing that type of stuff.
Yeah, that was not the advertisement.
No, I get that. But overall, I still will go to this con, but this year in particular, I learned quite a bit about folks when they're put into certain situations.
Mm-hmm.
Someone in the chat asked, are most people good, right? And I'm I truly do believe that. I think sometimes when put into a situation like I was part of, people change for a minute, but that doesn't make them intrinsically bad people.
No.
It just makes them a little selfish in that moment.
Yeah. But overall, I had a wonderful time hanging out with my wife and my friends and meeting up with old colleagues. That was great.
Yeah, walking around with people that I like was great.
Yeah, and I had all positive interactions with any strangers or new people that I met, with one exception, and it was just a funny story, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It was just more of a funny instance because we've told these stories of like, can I just nerp? Which there was a moment where many years ago we were at New York Comic Con and Tiffany was sifting through long boxes, and someone said someone really wanted to look at the long box that you were looking in.
Well, I'll explain why. Like, I am notoriously slow when I look through a long box.
No, you're so compared to me because I know,
or to some folks just in
my
general.
subconscious memory like knows what the covers look like, so I'm just like covers. I just know what I'm looking for, even if I'm not necessarily looking for anything.
Yeah.
So like, don't necessarily compare yourself to someone like me who can go through 78 long boxes at something like Newcomb Comics and what's that town? Lambertville.
Yes.
New Jersey, which you should definitely go to, by the way, if you were interested in, like, by the way, I think they just added 75-cent comics now, not just dollar, but we're talking 50 to 75 long boxes of dollar comics, now 75-cent comics.
I have to get some more of
go
those
there for the love of God, and then swing by New Hope, Pennsylvania, have fun. Oh, and swing by Tabby's as well and adopt yourself an adorable cat.
There you go.
But anyway, yeah. So anyway, you were going through the books, but like the thing is, when you're like, look, you're going through the long boxes. If I'm in front of a long box, I get the long box as long as I want.
I was in the one that was at the last like part of the booth, and this person made it all the way down to where I was, and I'm just going through my box and doing my thing, right? He comes up next to me, and like, I must have gone past something he wanted.
Yes,
but I'm still in the box, and I'm still like going back.
But it's like if you go past it, it's gonna be there.
It's gonna be there. And like what he did was he reached, like if Sal's right, he reached around this way, so his head was like here and his hands were like going towards the box, and he went, "Can I just?" And he just went into the box.
But he actually made that sound.
He actually made that noise.
Yeah.
And did that, and I just backed out because I was like,
I don't want to have an interaction.
I don't want to have an interaction with you. And what?
But can I just near? But in addition to that, we were walking through Artist Alley, which was choked as all get out.
Yes.
And there was a dude in like one of the largest cosplays I've ever seen.
It looked good.
Life. It was a great, fantastic cosplay. Good for him. I'm not going to call him out. I'm just going to say it was huge. That doesn't really narrow it down, folks. But he was walking through Artist Alley, and he wanted to go, and it's like we all want to go. But there was a moment where a couple people who, again, inconsiderate, they created a little row at a booth and blocked off all traffic. And so like everybody just kind of stopped for a minute. And we all just stopped for a minute. And so it's like, look, this is a fire hazard. There's a danger, but we've stopped. Just like if you're in traffic. Does this suck? Is this inexplicable and inexcusable? Yes, but we're all part of the same community. And I have 100 bodies in front of me who also can't move. And the dude behind me in the cosplay just goes, can you excuse me, please? Like he made a Conan O'Brien making fun of a nerd sound. And it was like, he's like, excuse me, please? Like trying to get through. Like I should get in front of you because I want to go. But he just, can I get through, please? Like, excuse me, please. That's what he said. Excuse me, please. And just started pushing. And I just turned around and went, no one can move. And he was like, nah.
No, he didn't go, nah. He went, oh. Because I heard that. I heard the whole interaction happen behind me as I was just trying to encourage people to like, the people in front of me basically had stopped to think about life.
Which never stopped. Just like look, you cause a curve, it's like you're in the river. You never if you're like, oh, I want to get onto that embankment, you have to row to it.
Yeah, because basically in that situation, in my opinion, yes. Like sometimes you do have to stop, but if you're got to stop, you got to find a responsible place to do that. 1. 2, as the person where I was, which was attempting to get things starting to move, it is my responsibility to be respectful for the people who are coming this way, who already have the right of way to go, in my opinion. But it's also my responsibility to the people behind me.
Yeah.
Like I have dual responsibility here.
Exactly.
Like, I need to be kind enough to them, but I need to get the line moving behind me because like I am in the front.
Yes.
I got to get this going here.
Yes.
And I did, but I did it in a nice way.
Yeah. Excuse me, please.
And then like, overall, like my over under on this con was I had a nice time, and I'm glad that we went, and I enjoyed myself, and I enjoyed talking to people, and I gave Vincent D'Onofrio a dirty look, and like all of it.
You sure did. Yes, because speaking of etiquette, he did not observe it, but I found that we skipped Sunday.
We did,
and I was glad I did. I don't feel regret or like I missed anything.
The only reason I do a little bit, is because Sunday is usually like a you and me day.
Yes.
And I really like that.
I like that too. I missed out on a lot of that.
We leave all the gear behind and it's just the two of us.
I bought no comics. I was really disappointed in myself.
Yeah, we just enjoy the convention. That's usually the day that we buy the comics, we do all of that.
But instead, we had breakfast in bed, which was way better.
I did make you a Hobbit-esque breakfast.
You did. Or a Denethor-esque breakfast.
There were tomatoes.
There were tomatoes involved.
Well, the Hobbits did have that. Remember? Oh, no, my tomatoes.
Yeah, that's nice. The other fantastic standout was that I did get a little bit of original art and, of course, some fantastic signatures.
Yes.
Or maybe two of them at once. My good pal, Greg, hooked me up with an original commission that has been a long time coming from a friend of the show, Gavin Guidry, who, of course, was also tabling at the show, and was nothing but wonderful. You should definitely go patronize his wares and pick up his art. But he unbeknownst to me, set up a special commission, which is a predator battling a pirate on the deck of a pirate ship in the rain. An image and visual that I have described and wanted to see for many, many years now. And here it is in official and legitimate, professional comic book glory. And as you can see, it definitely is exactly what I expected and what I had been promising for years. I then immediately took it to our good friend Tom King, and I asked him if he liked apples or perhaps dem apples. And he had to admit defeat and did, concede that it is awesome. And so he went ahead and signed the bottom there as well. So I'm thrilled to have this piece in my collection. I may need to have it like colored or something just to, continue this trend that I have, because we have another fantastic piece that is 2/3 of a trilogy. But this thing is just dope as F. And I'm so thankful and grateful to both Gavin Guidry and, of course, Greg for hooking us up for this great thing, and able to kind of be in the craw of a noted comic book auteur who might be like, what, it is cool. And did I pitch that to Marvel? Maybe it spurred me on to actually contact the editor of Predator and pitch the idea. Maybe we broke that story and got it ready to go.
But other than that, like, obviously there was a lot of news that came out from the convention. Like, there's just so much.
Yeah, there was a new trailer for Creature Commandos, which looks awesome. Maybe we should watch it or something. But you had some great news.
There was the DC panel. There was obviously the announcement of Hush 2.
Hush 2.
Yeah.
I really respect that no one told them that there already was a Hush 2, but I do appreciate that, we're getting a Hush 2. I saw some merchandise for Hush 2 where they replaced the U with a number 2, so it's Hatoosh. And I'm like, how could you not make the S the 2?
Skadoosh.
Like Skatoosh. It's just, I was like, that's awful. Like, that is a shark lawyer. That is a first idea. Hatoosh. But another Hush taking over the main Batman line. Like, it is just like it did when Hush started. Like, for this brief period, Jim Lee and Jeff Loeb just took over the Batman book and did their Hush story. And you know what? It was a great idea. It sold books, and it's a really cool era in Batman's history, if not, short. And I think it's a great idea. I think, especially if you're if there's going to be, and this is, I don't know if this is like news. It's not even news. It's just more like there's a rumor out there that maybe there might be like a new creative team on Batman, that like maybe Chip isn't doing Batman anymore. I'm not sure, but if we're gonna switch, this is the best time to do it. It's not unlike doing a 8 Deaths of Spider-Man story where it's like, hey, bring in Joe Kelly, have him do a really cool Spider-Man story, and then he can leave, and whoever will be the new run on Spider-Man can take over. You know what I mean? This is a great idea. Hush 2. And it's not like it has no precedence. It's been teased. There was a 20th anniversary book that came out that actually re-teamed Jeff and Jim to make a kind of like post-credit scene for Hush that teased there's more. So maybe we'll get it. If that's the case, can we get Tom King's written, Jim Lee's drawn, All-Star Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder continuation?
Wow.
I would like to see that. I know we're not going to, but I would love to anyway. And I say, instead of getting Tom King, look, Frank's back, baby. Just have him write it. I think it'll be terrible, but I want to read it.
Right. So, but all of that aside, the biggest thing that actually came out of it was not that. Regardless of what everyone would have you believe and what you might actually feel yourself, I'm just here to tell you what the biggest thing is that Vertigo is back.
Vertigo's back, baby.
It's back, and I had heard that there might be an announcement that I'd be super excited about.
Yes.
The day before that, I was not told what it was.
Mm-hmm.
But based on that, I was like,
yeah, you were like, I think they're going to bring back Vertigo.
I immediately was like, I think it's going to be this.
Yep. And then it was.
Which often is just wishful thinking. It's just me attempting to manifest something like that into the world. So I'm going to take full credit.
Yeah. No, but it makes a lot of sense for two reasons. The first of which is they changed the logo back to the old Bullet logo, which is like, great, put it in. The second one is the more like business oriented side. Do you want to talk about that, or you want me to take it?
Do you want to?
Just I'll lead into it, and then you'll take over because you're the co-host of the show. You can talk whatever you want to.
Thanks.
But the concept is that since the dissolution of Vertigo, the only real place for anything quasi creator owned related was like Black Label, and even then, it's a DC book, and it was always within the pantheon of the DC superhero characters. DC's Vertigo was originally a place for independent creators or creators to do independent works without having to leave the company to take their work elsewhere. This is a fantastic opportunity for DC to continue that trend, because what happened when they removed those avenues for creators, they either had to work into their contracts, they could work with Image, or they had to leave and go do something elsewhere.
For sure.
I mean, the only real exception to that is Jamestown and the Fourth's Nice House on the Lake, which was like essentially a Vertigo book, but it was just its own thing.
But that's what I think people forget about, because a lot of people think about Vertigo, they think about Hellblazer, Swamp Thing, and maybe Sandman. But there was a lot to Vertigo that wasn't just those characters. Obviously, there are books of magic. But DeMatteis did a lot of things. Animal Man also in there, but like DeMatteis did a lot of things that had nothing to do with any of these characters, and a lot of creators did. A lot of creators just wrote books that are like Nice House on the Lake.
Yes.
So when you killed that line and you rolled in a Black Label, you kind of killed them off from doing those things, because that kind of just became like a place where we told
different Batman stories,
Elseworlds Batman stories, that were like maybe a little darker.
Yeah, and even then couldn't be because of the botching of Batman Damned.
Right. So it's like we had that, but then you have someone like Jamestown and the Fourth who's like, I'm gonna do Nice House on the Lake, but then he goes with Boom and does something that's killing the children. That would have been a Vertigo book. And I could only imagine them going like,
man, we should own that character, or at the very least we should be able to like use that character in our. And Boom's like, thank God that they killed Vertigo when they did, because now James can do that.
I don't know that for sure. That could have just been something he wanted to work with them. Maybe they offered him a very nice deal. I have no idea, but that wasn't even on the table then for them.
No, it's true.
You know, so it's like keeping Black Label, which I have no information about this, but my thought is if they're definitely keeping Black Label,
which they did say they were going to do,
and they're definitely bringing Vertigo back, is that what we're going to see is books like Batman, like Wonder Woman, Dead Earth, like Hellblazer, maybe.
Yeah, or Animal Man or something like that.
Maybe, but mostly like I'm thinking like Batman, Wonder Woman,
Superman, kind of.
Yeah, anything like that is going to stay in Black Label.
Yeah, Black Label is going to be there, at least quasi adult oriented.
Right. Like that's my thought.
Superhero books.
And then I feel like things that are, even though technically Sandman started under the DC label, but yeah, there's like a bug in here.
It's just a fly.
Oh, okay. But things that, you know, like Sandman aren't necessarily like initially related. Now he is very much tethered to the DC universe.
Yeah, but even like, then they, I mean, like towards the end, they
did. Like, no, and even the first one he was, but like, you know, like original creators or characters where it's just like, there they are, like, you know, just new things. Will go under Vertigo.
Yes.
We're going to see some more crazy things.
Yeah, you're going to see something like Preacher, you know, or 100 Bullets, or The Invisibles.
Yes.
Where it's like, here's something completely new, and it'll have the like financial backing of like a major company.
Yes.
So it can really explore the space.
Okay. I have to like, yes, I just said Sandman was released there, and yet, but like when you think about it, and then the amount of characters that were created by Gaiman, yes, technically we're dealing with was like a character that is quasi related to Wesley Dodd and that whole like lineage. And yes, Swamp Thing shows up and like yes, but when you look at that overall, if you look at the entire run, I would love for you to sit down and consider the percentage of things that are more creator owned than not. And I mean, like, the fact is, like, Gaiman created a beautiful world that was in there, and I think from creating something that was like tangentially related to DC, it really opened the door for other creators to come in along with Preacher and go like, what if it had nothing to do with it?
Yeah, exactly.
What if I just told a story?
Yeah. So I know. So yeah, that was a really exciting announcement, and it opened the floodgates. I'm sure. I'll guarantee you that at least when I say guarantee, I mean I wouldn't be surprised if we saw some of these prominent creators that like DC would love to keep, because that's the thing, is that DC's like, we have those creators under our umbrella, and we'd love to keep them and keep them happy. Like Rom V or Cy Spurrier or Kieran Gillen for that matter. Like maybe Kieran might want to come by and play.
Right.
But like or keep people like Tom King or James Tynion IV.
It's a way. So like, here's what you're saying. I see some people talking about how like Sandman should be part of Black Label and not Vertigo. Well, here's the thing.
At this point, it's kind of become like a DC property.
It has. But if you're really talking about going back to the legacy, and if we're going legacy here, which we are, if you're thinking about the fact that they're bringing back the bullet logo, they're bringing back the imprint.
Yeah, then you should definitely fold all the Sandman stuff into Vertigo.
Sandman started in DC, but it lived in Vertigo.
Yes.
And it thrived in Vertigo, right? Swamp Thing thrived in Vertigo. John Constantine thrived in Vertigo. Yeah. Right? Like these are creations that truly like blossomed in that space. And I would love to see some reprints of their books with the Vertigo logo back on it.
Yeah.
Sure, you could put the DC Bullet logo somewhere on it as well. Why not?
Yeah, they used to, but and why not? I'm fine with that.
Yeah. But like, I think it would be nice to do a couple of legacy reprints in that way.
Exactly.
Like they reprinted Sandman and it had the Black Label thing on it. I was like, that's so weird. Like I understand the new stuff. Talking like, we're talking about like Sandman Universe having Black Label on it. I know. Yeah. I get that.
Well, because they didn't have any other place for it to go.
It was created under that label. Keep it there. That's fine. Yeah. That's fine. Yeah. But yes, I would love to see, DC court a bunch of like creatives who maybe don't want to jump on or like to an ongoing DC character, or they don't feel like there's a fit for them. But maybe fold them in a little bit where they're just like, you want to tell a cool story?
Yeah, right. Or do you want to satisfy that creative itch and then maybe take over Flash? Like Spurrier is doing Flash.
You imagine they won't, because it won't happen. But can you imagine if Alan Moore had like one more Vertigo pitch just sitting in a drawer somewhere?
Moore would never do it though. He'd be so angry. Like he's so just
I know,
because he'd be like, I'll do it if you give me Watchmen back.
I know.
Which they're like, we'll never do that. But no, I mean, like, I would love to see a bunch of like resurrected projects. Hey, DeMatteis, look, there's a place for this now. There's a ton of different creators I'd love to see, working today, and people 100%. Who had worked before and would work still.
Yeah,
that would be great for this.
No, I think they should do a mixture of older and newer creators.
It's gonna be a really
I think it's gonna be a hard sell, because I think people are gonna have a hard time understanding the distinction. Well, once we learn what it is, because that's the thing.
Yeah,
we're gonna need DC to educate us.
Yes,
on what the distinction is between Vertigo and Black Label.
Gee whiz, will they be able to do that though? Because they're so bad at it.
They need to come out with a little press kit.
Like
send us a press kit. We'll
yeah, exactly. We'll roll out with the.
I'm happy. I'm happy to help out.
More than happy.
Tell me how, DC.
Yeah, the rates are good over here at ComicPop.
It's nothing. I just want to help.
The rock bottom. But like, in addition to that, there's also like other things that need like promotion that require it, because people don't really know the context for it. I got a chance finally in my entire like year of knowledge of this to have a look at Zdarsky Comic News. The little like
you found
comic
it?
shop. Well, no. Oh. No, I met Chip for coffee, and he showed it to me.
Oh, that's great.
He didn't let me keep one because he only had so many copies, and he had to give them to retailers. But like, I was able to leaf through it a little bit. And when I tell you that, like, no one knows what this is. Like, I am not I am not being facetious. Like, no one knows what this is.
Yeah.
And there needs to be like a real rollout explanation for it. Like, it's free. It's exclusive to comic book retailers. It's not a joke. Yeah. It's not a parody magazine. It is, because the covers indicate, all the covers are done by him. You know, like there was one that was like making fun of Ryan Stegman, and it's just a, you know, caricature of him, and it's just like you'd assume that's like a tweet that Chip made, but no, it is the cover for a whole thing with like interviews. And
what's it
like,
called?
I think it's called Zdarsky Comic News.
I just wanted someone asked, I wanted to get that back.
But yeah, I think it's called Zdarsky Comic News, and it's just a little like I practice like a little newsletter that gives you an insight into the comic book industry, and it's up to like, I don't know, like issue 5 or 6. Like,
what?
There's a lot more of these than people think, and they're really like fun and cool. And I honestly, and like in a way, you know, in a selfish way, I want to be involved in it, you know, because it's a, you know, art first, writing equal, like,
it can't be art first and writing equal.
Yeah, but writing is on par.
Okay.
Like it's art first because it's like it's dynamic and fun. Mm-hmm. Chip knows, he worked for magazines and newspapers, like he knows how to format,
right?
So it looks good and professional. It doesn't have like the growing pains that things like early Wizard did. So it's just, but it could have the potential to grow and become something special. And you know, nobody knows what the hell it is or how to get it. And it's like, you have to tell your comic book store, you have to order it. And like, and by the way, comic book stores could charge for it if they so chose.
I mean, really what he should do is start going on shows like this or whatever and like pitching it or just like promoting it.
Explain what it is and sell it.
And like telling people to go get it there.
Yeah.
Is there a word find in the middle of it?
Yeah.
I want that.
I know, right?
I'm sure it's hilarious.
And there's no like oversight. You know, there's no like insane, you know, expectations from some ridiculous archaic publisher. It's just Chip. Like Chip's in charge of it. And it's just a really fun idea. And it looks fantastic. And it's just, I think it's just woefully under the radar. This is just something that like was very much.
Sorry. What if Superman was evil? We compiled a list of 5,000 comics. Which
That's so funny. But yeah, it's, you know, but Chip was a good friend of the show, and I want to see this thing thrive, and I want to be involved in it. Like I had considered buying ads for it in a way of like promoting ComicPop, but I'm like, how can I do that when like I've been in 5 comic book stores, none of them have had it.
Well,
or knew it existed.
Right.
And I'm like, well, who the hell am I advertising to then?
Well, I guess no one in New Jersey.
I guess, right? I'm sure that maybe some southern comic book stores.
Chips like salads there, don't sell it there.
Don't get them out there. I don't want him to have it.
I don't want him to have this. Make him want it.
I do want it. Then anyway, so that's New York Comic Con.
Did anything else come out?
Yeah, there were a lot of things, you know,
that we should absolutely
James
mention.
Gunn talked a little bit about you know, gave an indication of the DC universe and how it works and how like what's canon, what isn't. Creature Commandos has a bunch of characters pop up like Cersei, and it's like, okay, so Cersei is in the DC universe, like, and she's cast, and the same person who's doing the voice is gonna play her physically if she ever showed up in a movie. But he's saying, you know, that one of the quotes, something basically to the effect of like, if we say it in a movie, it's canon. Like if it comes up like, Robin, then there's a Robin, you know, which I was like, I couldn't have found that in any way inflammatory or interesting, but of course the internet exists. So I saw a lot of people being like outraged or at least like set off by it, where they're like, what does that mean? And I'm like, I think it means they're going to do whatever the hell they want, and they're going to figure it out later. You know, like everybody. You know,
like comics.
You like comics or Marvel, because Marvel has been doing that forever in terms of comics and studios. Whereas you thought that like, oh, the MCU is like a well-oiled machine that has all these plans, and it's like, no. I cite the post-credit scene of The Incredible Hulk, the second Marvel movie.
Yeah.
Or third if you count Punisher Warzone, which absolutely was originally an MCU movie. Where it's like, oh, here's this scene where Tony Stark talks to General Thunderbolt Ross and says, I'm going to make a team together, which I assume includes the Abomination. Like, what? So much so they had to make a retconning using a little like short film that they showed to 4 people. But anyway.
So we're an hour into the show.
I know.
Maybe we should talk about some comics.
I'm gonna be great, but I wanted to say, like, I wanted to kind of pad it a little bit to be like, the first hour was New York Comic Con.
New York Comic Con. There it is. So thanks for listening to our New York Comic Con conversation.
Yeah, there you go. Nice.
Sounds like I couldn't get the word conversation going.
Right. So there you have it.
And now you'll be listening to the Off the Rack, where we talk about comics
That's
that
right.
came out last week.
I think I'm actually going to like split it. So this is if you not visually, but auditorily. So if you listen to the show on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, this is the Comic-Con episode. And you knew that from the start because it says it in the description and in the title. But
right, but now we're all going to be like, "Hey everyone, welcome to Off the Rack."
Yes,
where we talk about last week's comics.
That's right. So get ready, folks. Here we go.
What came out? What'd you read? What were you excited about? What's going on?
I read a lot of stuff.
Where are you? Where are you?
Hey, we're not spirit boxing.
I'm spirit boxing.
Spider-Man Reign Spider-Man Reign 2 #4 from Kari Andrews is the penultimate issue.
Spider-Man Return. I was trying to put the
to put the 2 in there. Yeah.
Well, like Hatouche. I noticed they didn't do that. They didn't replace like the I with the 2.
No, they just put it in the back.
Yeah.
But Spider-Man Reign 2 #4. It's the second to last issue.
Let's do it.
It's ridiculous. It's just more chaotic and insane.
It feels like it's becoming more unhinged.
Well, it's
like
almost
it was
over.
Unhinged, and it's just become more and more unhinged. And it's like starting to make me question if I liked the other Kari Andrews book I read a while back.
Oh yeah.
That
no, you like that.
Did I?
Yeah.
Did I enjoy that?
This is insane.
This is insane.
Well, this is unhinged because Andrews realized, oh my God, I only have one more issue left and I have to put plot in here. Because the last 3 issues were completely empty of that. And by the way, not like I'm complaining. It's just been a fun, insane ride the entire time. Art, of course, is spectacularly insane and chaotic. Kari's doing all the duty there, and it's just a mess.
Well, I mean,
but a beautiful, chaotic, insane mess.
It is distinct, and I will say, from every element of this, Kari is making you think of
the 90s.
The 90s, 100%. From the coloration of
yep.
Thought narration balloons to the fact that when Mary Jane is in shadow, she's completely in shadow except her hair and her lips. And I'm like, that is such a thing I've never seen except for in 90s comics. And it's not always with Mary Jane, just women in general.
No, that's right.
There they are. You can see their silhouette, hair, lips.
Yes.
It's just it just makes me think everything 90s.
Yeah.
And maybe there's something insanely skilled about that.
I think so.
Right? It's like a love letter.
Yeah.
But it's also insane. But again, some of the comics, I'm not saying all of them, some of the comics from that time period are where they're just like, who cares about the story?
Yeah.
Look at these amazing panels I've drawn.
Yeah, I can't believe that it got approved, but I'm glad it did because it's ridiculous. Fun stuff. I liked it. It's Spider-Man fights Miles. We find out that Kitty Cat is Miles and Spider-Gwen's daughter.
Yeah.
Because you could feel the Sony influence. Spider-Man Reign 1 was not afraid to at least refer to the Marvel Universe. This one is very much Spider-Verse influence. So they're like, oh, we're doing time travel. We got to have the big Spider-Man 2099. I mean, Miles. I mean, both. How about this? And it's just trying to keep it clean. I feel like he didn't know that Kitty Cat was going to be Miles's daughter until this issue, which feels very much like a 90s comic where they're like, I didn't plan anything. I plan month to month. I write myself into a corner and then I write myself out. And
sometimes it works.
Yeah, when it's Mark Waid. But this is, it's silly and ridiculous, and there's no stakes, and so there's no reason to be upset about it. So I'm just like, all right, here we go, another fever dream of a book. And so now we're gonna get to the bottom of everything.
But all the heroes are gonna rally together.
Yeah, all the Spider people are gonna rally together. Okay.
And I guess Venom's dead.
Yeah. Oh no, there's no way Venom would be dead. But I also couldn't Marvel, I don't give a flying F about the Marvel Universe if Spider-Man's not in it, and vice versa. I don't care about Spider-Man if he's the only superhero. If you're making an iconic movie pre-MCU starring Spider-Man, I'll allow it. But in a post-MCU world, I'm out. Knock it off with your Spider-Verse junk.
But people
I'm tired
really
of
like it.
They sure do. They show up to buy it every time. But the Joker movie made $1 billion. So I don't trust the fact that some things sell is a good litmus test for why things exist. I think
it's just, if I may, for devil's advocate you in a way, I think it has everything to do with 2 different fan groups there.
Mhm.
You know, like you are very much about the story and like the inter like woven web of characters from the Marvel universe. And a lot of folk who I think like the Spider-Verse like feeling that there is a Sailor Scout for them.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, the proliferation of the social media trend of the like Spider-Sona is certainly proof positive of that.
I just dropped my tea.
I know, you're right.
Yep.
It's okay. You don't have to do that.
Keep going.
But here's an unrelated image from New York Comic Con: Spider-Verse versus Venomverse. Just to kind of like hammer home my point, which is that I'm just sick of this, like in the deepest, darkest way. Like, okay, we can finally do a crossover, but it's with Venom, because Venom has been like disconnected from Spider-Man, but then reconnected only when we're doing something like this. And I'm like, yeah, hi, I'm not no. Just hashtag no. I'm just not here for that. And it's I don't know who else is tired of it, but I am. And I will, I'm not gonna try and, as the kids say, yuck anyone's yum, but I would also like there to be like something else for the rest of us who might like prefer something a little more connected and, less, I don't know, synergistic with a terrible studio. But so that's where we are.
But I think that they would say that you've had that for years.
Yeah, and but that doesn't mean I shouldn't still have it. Like,
I think there's a deeper
the only
conversation
reason why
here.
the only reason why you don't want me to have it is because you want to keep all the money. Like, it is deeply uncreative, is my point.
Okay. No, I understand where you're coming from for that, but they don't, like, the fans don't see it as that. They see it as you don't want them to have it because it's new.
Yeah, no. I don't care if it's new. I think it's creatively bankrupt. And it also for no reason supersedes the thing that I am willing to pay for. And I think that's why Ultimate Spider-Man outsells Amazing Spider-Man right now.
Right, I get you.
Not that Ultimate Spider-Man is intrinsically connected to the Marvel universe or anything, but it is, or at least its own universe. Like, Iron Lad showed up. Anyway,
what else you got?
Wolverine 2. Wolverine fights a Wendigo for like 22 pages. Who made this book? Saladin Ahmed and Martin Kokolo. Wolverine fights a Wendigo for 22 issues.
22 pages?
22 pages.
I was like, 22 issues?
Yeah.
That's a hell of a fight.
Yep. It was well written and well rendered. Jenny Sparks #3 came out from Tom King and Jeffrey Spokes. This was well written and well rendered, though I question why it exists.
Oh, Sal's in a mood right now.
Mood. It's not justifying its existence. It just exists. I'm not saying that it is not for anyone. I'm just saying that I don't know if I'm the audience for it. And
I didn't get a chance to read that.
People are very upset by it all the time.
Oh, I didn't get a chance to read The Exorcism at 1600 Pen 1. I really wanted to.
I completely forgot it existed.
Did not get a chance.
Right.
I read Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu #1.
Yes.
This week.
Great.
It's written by Jed MacKay with art by Alessandro Cappuccio, who I also got to meet at New York Comic Con and told him he was great.
And not only that, what is Cappuccio leaving Moon Knight to do?
Wolverine.
Ultimate Wolverine.
Yeah.
They're doing basically the Winter Soldier, but it's Wolverine.
It's just sad because I do like Cappuccio quite a bit on the
Sad to lose him.
Sad to lose him, but I'm hopeful that like a new, fun, exciting artist, maybe Irish, will step in. I have no say on anything. I just, we met an artist who was from Ireland and they did a really they had a great portfolio. And I was like, you'd be a pretty good fit. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Anyway, I read the 0 issue for this and I forgotten I had, so I kind of scrolled back through it and I was like, oh yeah. This issue just reminded me. I mean, I didn't really need the reminder of why I love MacKay on Moon Knight.
Mm-hmm.
Based on this first issue, I'm like, you could probably just jump in.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's gonna have like more baggage as it goes along, but this is just like a Moon Knight story,
right?
Like this is just a great Moon Knight story. Like there is a all right. So like literally. like what this is it's a conversation from a cop and a former cop. They're in like a restaurant, a diner somewhere, and they're just talking about Moon Knight. And like the retired like cop is essentially like, you'll get it, like you just got to get out of his way, essentially, right? Like this is what he does and whatever. And she's like, well, isn't he like a vigilante and blah 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 blah, right? So we got that going on. But while that's going on, we're watching Moon Knight fight his way to someone. Like,
cool.
He's not on the VIP list, but he's wearing his Mr. Knight suit as he's doing, because he's gonna have a meeting.
Okay.
And he meets with who I assume is just a new guy that we'll be able to talk about.
Right.
And Moon Knight. Yeah, I was just hoping to open up my Kindle here. Thanks. I was hoping to get his name. Oh my God, a warning. And the warning is you're using Kindle. What the heck's his name? Someone in the chat will already have it before I get a chance. I don't know what his name is. It's something silly. Well, that's all I know. But anyway, this is like a drug dealer. This is essentially like that.
Is it deja vu?
No. Maybe it is. He remember in the beginning of the was it Green Hornet with yes
with Bludnovsky.
Yeah, with Bludnovsky. It's kind of like that, sort of, not really. It's just Moon Knight going to him and being like, listen, Achilles Fairchild, that's what his name is. His name is Achilles Fairchild. Thank you. And his sidekick is Carver, and
I guess he uses a knife.
She does.
Oh,
she fought through Vanaheim as like part of like a special ops thing, and she brought back a crazy sword.
Cool.
Anyway, so there's a new drug circulating on the street. It is literally fairy dust.
Okay.
And it's like one of the most addictive substances that Earth has ever seen. That
I'll take it. Over mutant growth hormone.
Like literally, he's just like, Moon Knight's like, that's what this is, and like it's like unbelievably addictive, and it's being sold in my territory, and it's causing people to turn to a life of crime.
Nice.
And so I need to stop the supplier, and I know that is you.
By the way, thank you for saying addictive and not addicting.
Yeah.
A little tip for you folks out there.
You're welcome. So Achilles is essentially like, dude, you sound like a person who's gone through some addiction. Like, what's your poison? You list a whole bunch of things.
Personalities.
No, this is such a great panel. Just violence. I love it, right?
Yeah.
This is why I'm gonna miss Capuccio for sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, Moon Knight's like, listen, you are destroying people, and I'm not gonna have that. And like, he just goes, I'm gonna kill you. And he's like, all right, anyway, well, I'm not going to fight you. That's what Carver's here for.
Yep.
But anyway, we're going to leave. And yeah, like Moon Knight goes, this was me being nice, essentially. And he goes like, no, it wasn't. He's like, but like you come to warn me, like that's what this is. Like, you've come to warn me, blah 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 blah. And Moon Knight's like, yeah, you got me. I like it when they see me coming. And I'm like, that's
his I am the Knight.
Yes. Yep. I love it, right? And then it turns out like, oh, one of the cops is a dirty cop, essentially.
Yeah,
and I'm like, this is just here's
a new Moon Knight issue.
Here's Moon Knight doing what Moon Knight does. Moon Knight's like, I don't want to do big events.
Yeah.
Moon Knight's like, I don't want to be.
I'm alive again. I want to do more cool stuff.
I'm alive. I'm back in the Midnight Mission. Like, I'm not looking like, I did the Avengers thing, whatever. I'm not really looking for that.
Yeah.
I'm looking for notes. I'm looking to take care of my people.
Yeah.
There I am. And I'm like, I'm in. I love it. I love it. It's like, it references some of like, McKay's own things. Because the first cop, essentially, she's like, are you sure this isn't like a cult he has there? And like, what does McKay do? He gives you a line of the people who are involved in the Moon Knight family by showing dossiers where it's just like, sure, he's got the teenager, right? The student who's like a vampire. We got like the soldier who's like, pretty loyal to Moon Knight, also a vampire. We got the religious cult person in the Fist of Khonshu, right? We got the fallen celebrity in Tigra.
Yeah.
And then of course 8-Ball. But like a brilliant way for McKay to go like, hey, are you jumping on here? That's okay.
Yeah, because these are the characters you're probably gonna run into.
Come on in, you're gonna be A-okay. And what I appreciate about that is it also like gives you this vantage point to be like, all right, I'll see what's going on, but you also know that if you liked this is literally the team that's been working on it. So you're like, if you're like, I really want more, you can go back.
Right.
You can just go and start at the beginning of McKay's Moon Knight run.
And now you know who everybody is.
Yeah. So you kind of know where the team's going to end up, but like I just was like, this is a really great relaunch in a way. You know, he does keep changing the title on it, but whatever. Listen, I'll keep doing number ones as long as we just keep doing
as long as
cool
they don't cancel
Moon Knight
the book
stories. But yeah, this was just like, I was like, this is just fun. Yes, I want to see Moon Knight, you know, in a club being the coolest he could be by being like, I'm gonna kill you.
Yeah.
Like
in my dope suit.
In my dope suit.
Yeah. But I'll probably won't kill you in this suit. I'll kill you in my cool.
Yeah, I gotta put my other suit on.
I have other costumes.
I gotta go put on my ass kicking outfit.
Exactly. I think it's at this point in the show that we should do the giveaway, where we wanted to do a giveaway today.
We did?
Yeah, it's on the top of the pile there. But we ran into our old pals over formerly of Valiant at Bad Idea. There's this crazy book called Planet Death. It, I believe, is written by Frank Thierry. But I'll have to check it out. I don't think there's a way for me to do that. Yep, here we go. It was nope. It was Derek Kolstad and Robert Venditti, with art by Tomas Giarello. It's a crazy book. It's gorgeous. It's insane. I don't even I can't even get into it. It's just really cool. So hashtag Bad Idea. Our intrepid moderator Danielle will pick a winner at random. Only enter if you are in the continental United States and you are willing to give me your home address so I can mail this to you. But this is from Bad Idea. We got this comp from the booth. And yeah, I had a chance to talk to the creators. I don't know if that video will ever come out, but I did, and it's there. But it's a crazy, amazing looking series or book that's debuting from this independent publisher. So check that out as well if you're interested. Yeah, I would not want to give this away unless it was so good looking. I'm like, this is a good looking book. Yeah, the artists they have on this line, on all the lineups, are just unbelievable.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is a very special comp book, though.
Yeah.
Like it's just art. So if you just want to look at some great art, yeah. Someone asked about Moon Knight being like the crazy stuff he did in Avengers. Is this book him resetting? That's actually where McKay's run begins. We've already gotten past that. Yeah. So if you're just like, I did not like Moon Knight from Avengers, you're like, I just kind of wanted to.
Don't worry about that.
Don't worry about that. At this
nobody
point,
liked that either.
Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu #1, you're gonna be just fine.
Exactly. I also read the Spectacular Spider-Man #8 from Greg Weisman with art by Emilio Lizo. This is, the continuation of a new arc for Miles and Peter as they continue their story for being regulars at the Coffee Bean and making friends and battling characters like Mentalo.
The Spectacular Spurman.
Yep, that's what that cover says. You know what Spider-Man
I know.
Is. But yeah, I'm done with this book. We're good now. I don't care anymore. Okay. I fell off the last 2 issues and I missed nothing. I appreciate what they're doing, but it's just boring.
That cover looks great.
Great cover. And the characterization is fine. Everybody's doing a good job. I just don't have the money or time or mental bandwidth for it anymore.
Really quick, I didn't fully read because it was a series of short stories.
Yes.
But Crypt of Shadows came out from a bunch of writers this week from Marvel.
Just a bunch of writers.
Just a bunch of writers. Just that was it. It was just words. There was no art at all.
Yep.
Writers and artists teamed up on a couple of short stories, ones that included Vision and Wanda, that included Man-Thing, ones that included Namor and Man-Thing, I should say.
Oh, okay.
Interesting combo. That's what it was. A lot of okay, Wanda and Vision, sure. But Namor and Man-Thing, I'm like, that's kind of
Hot
fun.
Agatha?
And then, no, Hot Agatha is the bookends of the book.
Oh, okay.
But then there's this team up right at the end that I'm kind of like, I'm not saying you wasted it on a short story because I don't think we would have ever seen it any other way.
Exactly.
But I kind of want more of an expanded story in which Werewolf by Night is being hunted by Kraven. And I'm like, yes, please.
Yeah.
Yes, I want a series on that. Jason Liu did the writing on that one. And I get what an interesting idea. And then, of course, Blade gets involved with it.
Yeah.
And inevitably, Craven is.
And we don't need Blade.
No, we don't really need Blade for that. But I was like, what an interesting idea, right? Like Craven becoming a monster hunter.
Yes.
Is like sort of fascinating.
It's a good pitch for the character if you have no regard for him or that you don't care about if Marvel clearly doesn't care about him and they don't want to use him in anything.
Right. It is, but like also like I'm like for me that aligns magically with other characters like, Elsa, where she's like, "Excuse me."
Yeah.
This is my purview.
Yeah. Elsa versus Craven, Craven versus Man-Thing, Craven versus Werewolf by Night, Morbius, Predator. These are all awesome.
But like I love this concept, and instead of it being just a random short thing or random one-off thing, I just like if you're not doing anything else with him.
Yeah. Yeah, they should have done that. Like, remember when the beginning of the Shang-Chi book?
Yes.
Where it was like Shang-Chi versus? It was clearly like, no, they don't call it that, but like it was Shang-Chi versus character. It's just Craven versus character.
Yep.
Like, and just get people to be interested in Craven again.
Yes.
That'd be great. Yeah. Oh, well. I read Wonder Woman 14, Tom King, Daniel Sampere. This may be one of the most like beautiful looking Sampere Wonder Woman issues. It's right up there with that one issue where like they just rip up Washington DC. A lot of like new status quo changes. Well, there's 2 status quo changes: the death of Steve Trevor and the origin of Trinity or Elizabeth.
Right.
Good stuff. Like it was. No matter if Tom King's name is on it, people will hate it and they'll complain about it and they will take to Twitter and they'll never have bought it in the first place. So who needs them? But Wonder Woman, Tom has admitted that like she's a tough character to crack and a difficult character to write for, at least for him. And I don't know if I necessarily care for his interpretation of her, but I don't know if I've ever. So I'm down for it. I think there's only one interpretation of Wonder Woman that I've enjoyed, like overall, and it was Danny Warren Johnson's. Yeah. Does it make it a Yarcha? That's a great Yarcha as opposed to Yarcha.
Yeah, sorry.
I think so.
I didn't mean to just like that was just such a great comment.
Yeah, no, I think it's fantastic. But yeah, man. Everything that you might complain about when it comes to Tom King's work is completely erased by the beautiful images that are rendered by Sampere and dictated in script form by Tom King. There's an amazing moment. Steve Trevor's dead. He was assassinated, and Wonder Woman is like devastated. He didn't have a next of kin, so like somebody else gets his flag. She seeks another house, breaks into it, takes the flag, and then like just goes into a cave and just weeps into it. It's just an amazing visual. She goes to the River of Styx and goes to try and like free him, and he's like, "You can't." And, they share a last kiss, and she, you can imagine what happens next. But she takes like their binded souls and takes a strand of it and then infuses it into clay and forms Elizabeth. And I'm
there
like,
you go. Perfect.
Yep.
Perfect.
I never would have seen that coming. I think someone may have also forgotten that the whole hook of the book was that there was this like one lone Amazon that had blonde hair that, was tearing stuff up and caused a whole problem with the Amazonians. And we all just kind of forgot about it. I think everyone did. But I thought that was going to be the mother and that Dinah was going to adopt her or something. But no. And I was like, cool, I'm in. Like, it's fine. I wasn't like, this is the next level. I was just kind of like, okay. But the visuals are so striking that it's like, it's worth reading.
Yeah.
I read Batman Superman World's Finest number 32. This is fun. Awesome stuff. Mark Waid, Adrian Gutierrez on art. This is just like a massive event that's just shoehorned into a book called World's Finest.
Are they vampires?
No, they're Eclipsode.
It looks like they had fangs.
They do, because Eclipso has fangs. But yeah, Batman, Superman are taken over. Robin goes to the JSA to save the Justice League and Batman and Superman from Eclipso's thrall. And awesome, fantastic superheroics ensue. It's like everything that Mark Waid has or has never thought to do with every single piece of the toy in the DC toy chest and just throwing it at the screen. It's just a it's a smorgasbord of superheroics.
Nice.
Fun stuff. I enjoyed it a lot. I was like, this is great.
All right.
Just cool.
And how do you feel about the shift on art?
It's great. You know,
Okay.
the art is fantastic. There's a couple of great splashes, and all the
Good.
panel work is fantastic. One complaint, there is a sequence where Eclipso actually does woo, where like it opens the book, like he laughs, and then he has another reason to laugh as much at the end, and so they just reused the same panel.
Oh.
And I was like, you didn't even need the panel. Like, do I understand that Eclipso is gonna like wallow in his own crapulence and laugh? Like, yeah. Do I need to see it so much that I need you to use another panel you already used?
Right.
No.
Right. I gotcha.
You did not need to do that. Oh, nice. You pointed out that in
I just was like, oh yeah, you made it like a wahoo.
Yeah,
thing,
well, and
right?
we got another Aru.
Yeah, there's multiple Arus this week.
Well, he is a werewolf.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
that's what there's more than
multiple
one
Arus. Yeah, exactly.
You got anything else before the last two?
Do I have any more? Yes, Nightwing.
Oh my gosh, you read so much. How did you have time for this?
I work from home. Nightwing 118 and Tom Taylor, Bruno Redondo. This is the end of the Tom Taylor, Bruno Redondo run on Nightwing, and it's a fine ending. It's funny because, you know, one of my main, not complaints, but rather like points of order about like Nightwing has been that it's mostly a series of watching Nightwing be capable and successful, with the notable exception of him having like fear toxin and being afraid to jump. And then we just create the reason like for him to, you know, we needed to create a mountain for him to climb.
Sure.
And then we do, and he succeeds, and yay. But no, Nightwing's going to keep going. This team is off the book.
Right.
Yeah. Heartless sucks, and he's a dumb villain, and he would never mattered. And basically, that's what Nightwing says at the end of the book.
Oh,
like he just punches him in the face, and he's just like, "You were stupid." You know, like this is the first time in the entire run, which I've read literally every issue of, where I find out that like Heartless actually needs hearts. Like he like replaces his heart with the hearts that he takes, and I was like, "What was that the whole time?" But he takes like Blockbuster's heart, just a big one. You know, he kills Blockbuster, it takes his big heart, and then like, and he's like, but it's wearing out faster. Why is that like happening? And Nightwing's like, that's an ape heart, you dumbass. It only worked for him. You have a monkey heart in your chest, you idiot. And then we also kill Tony Zuko. And I'm like, yeah, all right. Like a lot of like things just kind of like wrap up. You know, we think we're gonna kill Bitewing, and I'm like, oh no. But I know. I mean, like, first of all, you have the Dawn of DC logo on there. It hasn't been Dawn of DC for forever. You also have the old DC logo on this book.
That's fine. Like, I appreciate the consistency of this wrapping up with
it's like the Dawn of DC is over with the Fallen Grayson story arc ending. It does feel final. If you are looking for a like jumping off point on Nightwing, this is it. If you are looking to like quit, this is the book to quit on. The new series will be picking up. I'm sure that Nightwing will be put through a series of unfortunate events as a result.
Who's the creative team on the
I
next
don't
one?
know.
Okay.
But I guess I could find out right now. The new creative team on it will right now be Dan Waters and Dexter Soy, which is a fine team. I'm good though. I was only reading it because of how like good it was, and so we'll see.
That's fair. Maybe you'll check in.
I'll check out the first issue.
Yeah.
But I already kind of have
Absolutely.
a feeling I know where it's going. So yeah, but I hope you guys enjoyed it, because it was a fine run where like and an example of like this is a series of happy events to a superhero you love.
Right.
People will be like begging for this to be the status quo again for the next 20 years. And I guarantee you the same people who did it weren't buying this series.
Fair. What else you got?
Oh, I read Batman and Robin Year One from Mark Waid and Chris Samnee. If you've ever read a Waid and Samnee book, this is it. Mostly told from the perspective of Dick Grayson, because Mark Waid has said, I think on this show, or at the very least this channel, that he doesn't really have a good entry point in understanding Batman. And that's evident. But he also isn't like weird about it. So his Batman is consistent and fun, and he just finds new characters or fun characters that he respects or enjoys more to find a way to talk about Batman.
Okay.
But it's essentially like a retcon of Batman and Dick Grayson's first adventures together. I could think of no better team to put on this to do that. And it's good.
All right.
Like, you know, there were spectacular visuals and fine storytelling, and it was nice to see young Jim, Alfred, Dick, Batman, you know, Gotham, Two-Face. There's a, you know, Wade is great at like giving you a story from like 500 years ago that like feels fresh and new and introduces new characters, and you're like, that works.
Right. Okay.
So it's fantastic. You know, it wasn't like it blew my mind. I was just like, yep, this is as good as advertised.
Wait, did it feel like comforting or comfortable?
I'd say so. Yeah. It was yes.
Okay.
Yes. Like that.
That's awesome.
Yep. What else you got?
I mean, just the last two. I didn't get it. Like,
I know.
I don't know. We went to a convention. I don't know how you found time.
Yeah. Well, I already edited my Rom V interview, which will be dropping tomorrow. So, you know, hang on to that, folks. Please watch it. You get a lot of insights into what's going on with the New Gods.
I used 2 camera angles. Oh, that's right. New Gods' job. Like, that's another announcement.
Oh, yeah. New Gods. Yeah, we knew.
What were you going to say? Oh, too.
This book you're about to talk about.
Oh, yeah. We both read.
Yeah.
We both read Batman Full Moon #1, written by Rodney Barnes, art by Steven Subic.
Yep.
Who did work on, what was the thing I knew that you
Penguin.
I was like, you know this artist, Sal.
I know. I didn't. I honestly forgot. Like, I was just like, I just read Penguin and then just leave.
Yeah. So Rodney Barnes wrote many things, but Philadelphia might be the thing that you know most recently. Is a Black Label book.
Yep.
With the Bullet logo on it.
Yep.
Which I was like,
feels good.
That's kind of cool. Right.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
I like Subic's signature at the bottom. I think it's cool.
Yep, I agree.
I love the full black and white book, and I love the fact that you know what you're coming into in this. It's an Aru book.
Aru.
We're dealing with a werewolf.
Yep.
This first issue gives you a good handle on Barnes's iteration of Batman.
Yep.
It's a Batman who has an Alfred.
Yep.
It's a Batman that has a relationship with Jim.
Yep.
It's a Batman who I often can hear Kevin Conroy voicing.
Easily.
But
he has
it's
another
not
relationship too.
What?
He has another relationship in this book.
Oh, what do you mean?
Batman does.
Yeah. Oh, right. Yeah, we'll get to that. Because what I was gonna say was that while yes, I feel like there are parts of that I'm like, this is kind of like an animated series Batman, but like black labeled. But Barnes is definitely putting his own spin on it for sure. For some reason lately, a lot of folks seem to be putting Batman and Zatana in books together.
Yeah.
And this is no different. In this one, though, Zatana and he are dating.
Yeah.
Which I was like, what an interesting duo.
Right?
Because he hates magic.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's not like he's suddenly cool with it in this.
He's like, no, this is stupid. But like they have they're trying it out.
Yeah. And it's interesting to see like Batman talk to a woman he's interested in seeing.
Right.
And knows at work.
Right.
You know, like this is cool.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
It was interesting because this is a Batman with a personality, but also set against a familiar setting where he normally is a stoic, you know, island. You know, talking to Jim, talking to Alfred, doing the thing. This feels like a book from 30 years ago.
A little bit, but they're like
in the best way.
Yes, in the best ways. Like it's just definitely modernized. The art's like crazy. There was only like 1 or 2 times where I was like, I'm not sure what I'm looking at here. I did read it via Kindle Comixology, so maybe it has to do with that and less about like if I had actually had the physical
copy,
version of it. But overall, like I was like, I'm interested in this story. Like essentially, it's like there's a guy and he's a werewolf.
Yeah.
And he's in Gotham, and what's up with that?
And that's like that's all I ever want.
Like literally,
all I ever ask for is just like here's a premise, and he's in Gotham, and Batman's gonna have to solve that problem.
Yeah, and we have like a there's like a murder investigation, or there's like a there's just a police investigation, and Jim's there, and like there's also been a fire, and like I love like Barnes's take on the different departments within Gotham dealing with Batman. So Batman shows up. And Jim's like,
clear the room,
10 minutes.
Yep.
And the like chief of like the fire chief is like, dude, there's a fire. You're not the heavy here.
There's still fire in the building.
Batman's like, but these 2 were murdered. So it makes Jim heavier, basically. And I'm like, but like the fire chief's like, get the hell out of here, Batman.
Yeah. Okay, that's great.
Way to stop the fire.
But he did, because he had fire drones.
Right.
But it's like, that was fun. It's a classic Batman story.
It really is. Just with this like interesting take on Zatana. Now that said, I didn't love when Zatana rolls up in her first like outfit of choice, but I'm not gonna shame her.
No, well, she's trying things out. She's like, I don't know.
She's trying stuff. Why not? I was like, what is happening right now?
Yep. John shows up.
John shows up and he is a bastard. And it's interesting to hear Barnes's like voice for him. You know, I'm not getting like Brit necessarily, but I am getting Jerk, and I'm totally okay with that. And I can't tell if John's playing along or he really doesn't know that Bruce Wayne is Batman.
I like the idea that he doesn't, or that he could, but like doesn't care.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know at all. Alfred is everything you remember or miss about Alfred. He's supportive and funny and what have you.
Yeah, he is a part of it.
Yeah, he's
the way he always was. Like when Batman goes to the cave, Alfred's there. He's offering snacks. He offers advice or insight that Batman wouldn't normally see or get. Moving on. Like we're, you know, folks who want Alfred back like aren't asking for much. I'm not asking for like central stories where Alfred like has secret daughters or is roped up in the Secret Service again, or you know, has to join MI13 or whatever the hell. Just put him back.
Yeah. Also, Kurt Langstrom's in this, which is brilliant because they're like,
you're thinking of it.
Barnes is like, I'm doing a story about a werewolf. Langstrom shows up and like, Batman's basically like, what are you doing here?
Yeah.
And he's just like, well, you know, there's
a transforming man in the city, and they're gonna start blaming me.
Reasons, and he's just like, you know, lycanthropy is not too far away from like vampirism in a way,
or batism, which is what I am.
And you know, inevitably you do see a fight,
and between like, Man Bat and Werewolf,
and then Batman shows up.
And he's like, this is fucking crazy. Yeah. I'm like, yep.
I mean, and the end of this book, well, I will not spoil it for you, is definitely like what you might have been hoping to happen. I don't know. I'm like, you have me. I mean, you had me with the idea of this and like not messing around. Like it wasn't like Barnes was like, but is it a werewolf? Like sometimes they'll do in some of the Dark Knight, or the Legends of the Dark Knight books where it's like, was it something magical? I don't know. No, this is like, there is a werewolf.
There's a werewolf in Gotham. Moving on. Like,
here we go.
Like, let's go.
Yeah.
You know, like action.
Yep. So I just really enjoyed this. So if you didn't get a chance, go out, grab this one. If you're looking for just a classic Batman story,
that's what this
is. But also that's like a little like spooky themed a little bit because it's October. Why not?
Because it's October, it's about a werewolf. But like, yeah, it is just a classic Batman story, but also he fights a werewolf. I'm in.
And I mean, like, obviously, you know, having Kurt there is interesting because it's like Kurt deals with having to transform between a bat and a werewolf. But I mean, like, there's been so many like pop culture things when it comes to werewolves and vampires fighting. And so it's like, if you have access to those toys, why wouldn't you do it? You know, how often are you going to do this? So I'm in. And like I said, the art is grim and gritty. It's really interesting looking. But like interesting, not in a bad way.
No, agreed. And finally, we read Ultimate Spider-Man number 10, which is written by Jonathan Hickman, this time with art by David Messina. This is entirely Spider-Man-less. It's just Uncle Ben and J. Jonah Jameson talking, which is what I like every once in a while. We need one of these.
We do.
We do. Uncle Ben and J. Jonah Jameson have discovered the secret of the sale of the Stain Stark.
Yes.
And we find out what I essentially assumed about Gwen Stacy, which is that she is like, you know, not as great as everyone would like to idealize her as.
Right.
But even then, like, I think like, no, but she is still like fully well-rounded because she's like fiercely loyal to her husband. She's like, no, my husband needs to be protected because he's a pathetic spineless worm because he's Harry Osborn. So I need to make sure he's protected.
Right.
But I will sacrifice my relationship with these two people in order to do that. And I'm like, that's neat. You know, you just watch JJ and Ben like be the best power couple in the Ultimate Universe.
Yep.
They're trying to get to the bottom of the mystery until they eventually bring their whole kit and caboodle to Harry. I wish they just brought it to Peter because he would have just explained it to them. But Harry explains it to them, gives them the information, and then they run it in their story. I mean, it doesn't need to be. It's a book where two people talk to other people for 22 pages. It doesn't really like, you know, it's not like it's a whole analysis.
But like when you say it like that, I don't think you get across how engaging this issue was.
It's completely engaging.
This issue was like it was a literal page turner.
Yeah.
Like, I was like, I have to know what's happening next. I have to know what's happening next. Like Ben and JJ's like dynamic and their ability to like report and investigate.
What the hell flew at me?
Well, it was my hairband.
Oh. I thought it was a big moth.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
That's all right. I was like, because we've occasionally had like
enjoy that jump scare,
Yeah.
folks. That was completely my fault. I was playing with it.
No, thank God. All right.
Yeah, that was.
It looked like it came from over here.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's all right.
I'm so sorry.
Thought it was a big horrible moth. I was
so
amazed that you didn't react. That was what I was like. Oh, geez, she's really keeping it strong for the show, but not me. Yeah,
I did. I would though.
I know. You were like, yeah. If it had been a moth,
I would have. There would have been a legitimate. Yeah, no,
Yeah.
for sure. So don't take what happened here as like, you know,
No, no.
I'm like totally cool under pressure. I am not.
No, you've been eyeing up that fly over there. For
I
the
have
entire
been
show.
like, well, initially I didn't know what that sound was.
Mhm.
Anyway, so the dynamic between Jonah and Ben, I think it's incredible. Like the way in which they investigate.
Oh yeah.
Where every bit of their investigation is them actually trying to get to the heart of the information, not just being like, this is the thread I'm pulling. They're like, no, I'm pulling this thread so that actually I can get access to that thread.
Yeah.
So I can get access to that thread. So I
Uh-huh.
can get access to that thread.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to do this. And I love that conversation with Harry and how frustrated he was.
Yes. He's like, your banter is really, and it's like, yeah, we know it's where Peter gets it from.
Yeah. Yes. It's perfect. Like for this, at least in the Ultimate Universe, to see why Peter is the way he is. And it's like, well, because of Uncle Jonah and Uncle Ben.
Yeah. My
two dads who essentially are like, haha, let's do a bit of business here, even in the face of maybe like, getting hurt.
Right. Oh yeah. Well, they keep warning like someone's going to die. And I'm like, yeah, someone's going to die. I mean, the cover is a lie, but it also is like interpretive.
Yeah.
But it also evokes that image. I mean, you're thinking of like, this is the sequence where, the Green Goblin grabs Peter and knows who he is and reveals himself. Like it's also a Marvel's cover. Like you're getting a lot.
Yeah. There's a lot. There's a lot going on, but like, I really love how Hickman is world building within these two characters. Like we get a lot of who they are and what their friendship has been like.
Yep.
Throughout their years without having a flashback, anything like that. The fact that they have like the bets and they're doing the money exchange right there.
It's the same money. It's just the same, like
it's been the same $50 or whatever it's been for the past 30 years.
Yeah.
Like that's just been them. And I absolutely love it. It's just a testament to Hickman's writing ability.
Yeah.
For him to be able to give you so much information about characters without having to be like, let's go back.
Mm-hmm.
You're not going to understand who these are unless I do a flashback to them, like getting to where they are. And it's like, nope, you can.
We get it.
And listen, sometimes a flashback is needed and sometimes a flashback can be super powerful.
Yeah.
But Hickman's just making, I think, a lot of the right moves here.
Yeah.
And again, to have like another issue in which like Ultimate Spider-Man, it's the title of the book. His face is on the cover.
Mm-hmm.
He's not in it. And it still feels like a Spider-Man book.
Yeah. The best kind of Spider-Man books could entirely be taken over by like members of the supporting cast that we care about.
Yeah.
Which is like, I have to add that caveat because like sometimes they're like, oh yeah, here's old good old Randy Robertson. I'm like, I never cared about him.
I will say I was guessing as to who the name of the reporter was going to be at the end.
My God.
And I did not.
No,
come up with
I didn't
that.
see that at all. I was like, oh, is this where? I'm like, no, but Robbie actually exists in the book.
Yeah.
So it's like,
the
reveal is amazing.
Yeah, the reveal is That's incredible. Funny. It's a great little nod.
Yeah.
I see, and there's nothing. I'm not calling anyone out here. I just saw someone mention something about the pace of this book, and from my perspective, I love the pace of this book. I like the fact that it is a little bit slower, but doesn't feel decompressed.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, what I feel like it's doing is making the anticipation of something bad happening all the worse.
Yeah.
Like us being allowed to like live in these quiet moments with them or to like get to know these characters and not have it be like an action-packed slugfest or like just like, oh no, and then something happens. Oh no, and then something else happens.
Exactly.
Makes me feel like I'm like, oh my gosh, like I literally am like terrified for these characters.
Yeah. Oh no, something bad's coming.
Yeah. Yeah. The fact that you're letting me have this breath makes the next scare
all the worse.
Or a hair tie.
That's right. Yeah. So let's get into some super chats before we get into our book of the week.
Well, also we have a winner to announce.
We do have a winner to announce. We have our winner ready to go.
Yes.
All right. Officially, it is congratulations, Mason Brown. You did it. You got yourself a Planet Death book. Just drop yourself into the chat and make sure your presence is known, and then contact our intrepid moderator Danielle, and she will get your details and then send them along to me. But I'm sure you're still there. But I need you to voice yourself in the chat. So yeah, getting into our super chats here. Letty Laserdisc says, "Hi, Comic Pop. Went to New York Comic Con Sunday and met Shadows, Zdarsky, Jared's King, and Mora. My girlfriend had such a blast, and I hopefully I'll say hello to you and the crew one day. Have
That's
a good week."
fantastic.
Sorry I missed you, Lenny Laserdisc. Thank you so much for being here.
Yeah, but like, what an all-star lineup!
Exactly,
what an all-star lineup.
Fantastic. Arduit, second thing, no comic shop in our area, working with local game shop to become a vendor for small amounts of comics to test sales. I know Amazing Spider-Man sells Ultimate Spider-Man and Ultimates, along with Batman and New Absolute lines coming.
Whoa, and what a great idea.
Yeah.
Fantastic.
Like great call.
Yeah,
thank you for your generosity.
Good luck
man.
with that.
Any suggestions on picks? Would you go with Superman or Action Comics if you had to pick one? Thanks so much for your feedback. Love y'all from Texas. Thanks. Superman. I prefer Superman over Action Comics pretty much all the time. From the 90s to now, I think that Josh is just crushing it. And I think it's definitely worth checking out, especially now that Dan Mora is drawing it. Jose Rivera, glad to meet you guys at New York Comic Con on Saturday. Sal, and shake your hand. I was dressed as the Jack Knight Starman. Nice to see you, Jose. Thank you so much for being there and for being here with us.
Absolutely. I think the first the
first of Arduits was
it ended up coming in backwards.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. He also returns to say "Comic Woo." So multiple things today, and that was the beginning. Did you pick up the Marvel MTG promo they were handing out? Google Doctor Strange Counterspell. No, I saw the Magic the Gathering. Someone sent me a picture of the card.
Yeah, I'm sure it's incredible.
Yeah, he says Hoary Host of Hoggoth on it.
Aw, fantastic.
Yeah, but
does he say it like a New Yorker?
Well, I assume he would.
Hey,
get your ass over here.
With a hoary host of Hoggoth.
Man, that sucks. Monster Man Alex, I've been watching The Real Ghostbusters with my girlfriend before bed, and never was I prouder than the episode titled, when the episode title said, written by J. Michael Straczynski, and she says, Babylon 5 fame.
Yes!
That's right. Yeah, J. Michael Straczynski was an architect of that show and really infused a lot of genuine, real occult lore into it, and that's why the show sucks as it goes on, because Straczynski's really, really excited about adding those elements, and of course they hired that
can we just point out that I was excited, you were excited about talking about Real Ghostbusters and J. Michael Straczynski, and I was excited about the fact that their girlfriend quoted of Babylon 5 fame.
Babylon 5 fame. That's right. Yes.
I'm just saying.
Babylon 5 creator J. Michael Straczynski. That's correct.
I mean, that's incredible.
I know. I love that. Let's see. Denial. A question for Sal. Do you have a fictional character you hate as much as Tiffany does Pariah or Ethan does Dragons? I mean, obviously, Rogolzar or Rec Rap are up there. I think Rogolzar more so.
I don't think you hate them quite as much as we do.
Yeah, I mean, I do really hate them.
Yeah. All right.
Bryce Harriet. Hi. I never thought I'd tear up over Steve Trevor. Also, my mother loved the issue, and I'm glad Tom's Wonder Woman is the first monthly she's read. I love that too, man. Thanks so much. That's great. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, and it's so it's such a sweet, true story.
So much.
Exactly. Girk Peck does my favorite New York Comic Con panel was Secret Level. At first, it was fun, but then a clip of a creepy Pac-Man episode played, and everyone was uncomfortable. Peak. What the hell?
Oh,
I will take your word for it, man.
I am looking forward to Secret Level. Sal told me about it. I was like, ooh.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in.
Extra for 7. I'm moving from Chile to Toronto first week of January, and the main thing I'm looking forward to is being near a Comic-Con events and cheaper shipping on my comics, and of course closer to maybe meet you guys at some point. Well, thank you very much. That would be great, man. I mean, Toronto, as I understand, is not too far from us in terms of flights. When we're doing the New York thing, so hopefully you can go to New York Comic Con at some point. That's
huge, right? It's an intrepid move.
Yeah, huge
good luck
move.
With that.
Congratulations on the move, and we hope I hope it works out for you. Ty Kim, so glad to see Tiffany, Sal, Ben, and Tiffany, Sal, and Ben in person for the first time at New York Comic Con. You guys are so kind, and a huge highlight of my con experience. All you guys are awesome, and congrats, Sal, on Terminator. Thank you, Ty. Appreciate it. It was great to see you, and we really appreciate you coming out and going to the meetups. That really is awesome, and I really appreciate it. Thank you. We're just coordinating the thing.
Yeah. You don't have to worry about it.
Hulkzilla says, welcome back home. Hope you guys had a great time.
Thank you. We had a good time.
We had a good time. Girk Pectus, I was so annoyed that New York Comic Con got rid of the board games. That was the easily best part of the last year's. Sorry I missed your meetups. I came Saturday late.
Oh, that's okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to bump into you, man.
Admittedly, Saturday I felt really, really bad. That was that was really hard, I think, for a lot of people on Saturday to even get to where we were. The floor was bumping.
No, it's true.
By the way, one of my things I noticed was that like after I want to say 3, there's so much more room on the floor.
Oh yeah, no, people all left. It was insane.
I don't know what that was all about.
Right.
Anyway.
Cat Loyal Defend for Treats. I'm never not amazed by Tiffany's hat collection.
Thank you. And like sometimes I favor them. Like right now, like since San Diego Comic-Con,
this has been your
I have
hat
been loving my Nerve hat so much. Like, oh my gosh. Like I want more hats like this because it's very understated.
Yes, absolutely.
This is an understated Nerve hat.
Christian Gattaca or Gatisa says, love y'all. Are we excited for Absolute Wonder Woman? We are.
Yes.
We are
excited.
100%. Sunbringer, hey guys, I don't send super chats very much, but I've watched you guys for what seems like 10 years, and I want to show my support when I can now.
Well, Sunbringer,
thank you for being here with us for over 10 years, or at least 10 years. We appreciate it. We've been plugging along, you and I, for this long. Thank you for your support.
That's awesome.
Paul Williams says, feels sad to see Taylor's run end, since I felt ever since Taylor's run began, Nightwing was finally was finally allowed to be a real character. So I'm excited to see that continue as others pick up the torch. I genuinely hope they do. That'd be great. Pectus says, do you play Little Nightmares 3 at con? I loved it. I don't think we did.
What?
Did we play Little Nightmares?
I saw it, but I was like, is it 2-player? Because if it is, I'm in.
Right. Jeremiah Muhammad, thank you very much for your super sticker. Appreciate it. Unfortunately, I can't post it through this system, but we appreciate it anyway. Jamzilla, hey, ComicPop tragedy struck last week when all the books I bought the previous week were stolen from me. Luckily, my local comic store had my back and let me get every book I lost at a discount.
Oh
Stay
my
cool.
gosh. I'm so
sorry that it was stolen from me, man. That
happened.
sucks. It really blows.
But like, good on your local comic book store for like
trying to make it right.
That's really nice.
Man.
Wow.
Yeah.
But like that sucks.
That's horseshit. I hope that they can at least try to get to the bottom of it. At least get some like recoup, of financial loss. It's not fair.
Yeah, 100%.
Thorn Identity. This is why I avoid travel people and travel with people.
So we're talking about con stuff
earlier. Yeah, exactly. I completely agree with you. Although it does preclude us from being able to meet in person, man. Work that out sometime.
Well, we'll have to work it out.
We'll have to work it out on our end. Yeah. Justin Guy with a mustache. I'm truly sorry to have to go through that, Tiffany. I'm hoping the good outweighed the bad.
Yeah.
Of course it did. We got to hang out with good people like you. There is a phrase I say sometimes, protect that smile. I hope we in the population can protect all your smiles in the future.
Well, you're very
you guys
sweet.
Always do.
You're very sweet, and it's true you do.
It's true. Emily, the goaltending drummer with the Batman news official. I'm cautiously optimistic. Lee should be great, but Loeb has been spotty. I haven't read Last Halloween yet, so I don't know if he still has it. P.S. Hope to catch you next year. Hope to catch you as well.
Yeah.
I also am a little cautious, but I feel like when it comes to this kind of thing, when it comes to Batman, I feel like Loeb wrote it already.
Yeah.
I haven't also read Lost Halloween, but I need to at some point.
Can I say one more thing about con? Because I feel like we didn't really get a chance to talk about it because we kind of just talked about the con itself.
Mm-hmm.
But like the other thing that was like really like the best about it was seeing everyone on Friday and Saturday, like having folk come up to us and just talk with us and like share your stories, like as members of the like community that we have. Like
massively.
That's easily a highlight, and it's one of the things that my mind always goes back to, like when I think back on this convention.
Yep, big time.
Yeah, that was absolutely incredible. From people being really cool, like first of all, making a line.
Yeah,
that's insane. Second of all, helping the like on Friday, what everybody did was the person behind them
took the
If
picture.
they want to take a photo, like they're like, I'll do the photo for you, and like that's what I'm talking about. Like there are good people.
Yeah. And
you made like good choices and like you were thoughtful and kind and you made sure that everybody had a chance and got to do what they wanted to do. And I thought that was amazing. And then on Saturday we had like a couple of folks who were just there. They hung out the whole time and they were just happy to help folks get their photos. And I was like, that's amazing. So thank you for that. Anyway,
I completely agree.
Go ahead.
Totally agree. Thank you, Nick, for wishing us a happy Monday. Happy Monday to you, my friend.
And of course, thank you to everybody for all the love for Terminator. Folks coming up to Sal saying like they couldn't find a copy at the con.
Yeah.
Because it kept being sold out places.
I should also point out that today is the last day for final order cutoff for issue 2. Though I shouldn't have to warn you about that because I know that when we were talking about it, I'm going to be in the first 5 issues. I know you can't pre-order issues like 4 and 5, I think, but I know some folk have already pre-ordered up to issue 3. So we do appreciate that. Thank you so much. But yeah, if you are of a mind, just tell your local comic book store, hey, I want the first 5 issues at least of Terminator. We'll see, fingers crossed, about future installments of Sal's interpretation or thumbprint on that character. But yeah. But of course, this is the last day you can pre-order the second issue.
Okay, fantastic.
But not the third, fourth, or fifth. So make sure to tell your comic book store. Just tell them you want them all. But Emily, the goaltending drummer, returns with Batman News Official. She said that already. I'm sorry. Slash Shot. I was at New York Comic Con as well, and the crowds were definitely a lot. I think I spotted you at Aaron Campbell's booth. Hope it was still a good weekend overall.
Which one of that? I wonder which one of us that was, because you were there at one point.
I was there,
and I was there at another point. Yeah.
Next time you do, just say hi, or
don't. It's okay if
you don't have to. If you don't feel like it, but like
they're just people.
Yeah, but if you do feel like it, we're more than happy to say hello. We're always down. Chocobo Kid. But did you have second breakfast? Did we? I don't think so.
No, we didn't. We failed.
Yeah, we did fail big time. Hulkzilla. Sorry, you guys had to deal with some unpleasant experiences, but hopefully the better moments outweigh the bad ones. I also totally gonna blurt out "Nyerp" at a random moment when I'm at work. I'm sure that don't do that. Do that with your friends, but don't do that in work. They'll be like, "Oh, that's that nerd." Matt Hendry or Herndy says, one of the absolute highlights for me was meeting the ComicPop crew and then being even more delightful than I could imagine. Sal was falling over himself to help me find another Terminator copy from the sun.
Oh my gosh,
I remember you, Matt. Thanks a lot.
I hope you did.
I hope you did too. And next time I see you, I'll sign it. But thank you, man. Thank you so much.
We tried so hard.
We did. We're like, wait, these guys.
And you were so kind yourself.
Yes, it's true.
About that, where you're like, no, it's okay.
Right?
That was very cool of you.
Yeah, thank you so much, man. Justin guy with a mustache. Oh, by the way, Tiffany, now that Uzumaki has wrapped up last Saturday, my final report is damn it. Yeah, I mean, that doesn't surprise me. We thought it was on Netflix. And it wasn't. It's on Max.
And Adult Swim. I don't know why. My brain was like, it's Netflix. There's literally no reason it would be. It definitely is Adult Swim. There's literally no reason I should have thought that.
Danby 900. It's weird to call it Hush 2 when we have Heart of Hush, a very good sequel by Dini and Nguyen. Not a great title. If Chip is done with 157 with Hush 2 starting at 158, that's a random issue number to end on. I agree. On all those points, because there is already a Hush 2. I can't believe they called it that.
If you add 1 + 5 + 7, it equals 13.
Cat Lord Adventure Treats. It reads like versus, and that's Spider-Verse versus Venomverse.
Yes.
Yeah, the verse. Jay Sage, does a character power level affect relatability for you? Like on paper, Wonder Man, a failing actor, should be more relatable than Batman, right? Love the show. I agree, but I think that's funny. Like, I don't care about Wonder Man at all, and I think it's just because he's such a douche. Like, he's always acting like he's better than the superheroes that he hangs out with. But he also was a supervillain and has died 16 times and tried to be an actor, and he played himself in movies. Like, get over yourself, Simon. And you're not better than us. Like, at least better than the Avengers, certainly.
I would say no. I think it more has to do with their reaction to whatever power they have or do not have.
Yeah.
And that humanity that can come from that, regardless of if they are human or not.
Yeah, Superman is relatable to a lot of people, and he's the most powerful, or at least he's the most unrelatable power-wise compared to human beings.
Yeah.
Wreck-It, have you ever considered doing DC Elseworlds book World's Funniest for back issues? It's basically 60 pages of Batmite mixes Pitlick fighting and traveling through every era of DC. No. And the reason for that is simple. Number one, I believe we do have it in our Elseworlds trade paperbacks, but the main reason is because selling Batmite and Mixes Pitlick is really hard to do. And I don't think people will be hanging around for that, myself included. I don't care about those characters at all. And the best way that I've seen them fight is in the Mark Waid Batman Superman World's Finest series. And even then, it was wearing a little thin.
Okay.
But that's not to say you shouldn't enjoy it. I just myself was like, no, thank you. Hayden Hamilton, any characters you would not write for if asked? Nope.
Pariah or Red Ghost?
If they asked, I'm doing it. I don't care. I'm in. Red Ghost, year one. It's the Cold War. He's young. He's
that's you.
Hip.
If it was me, I'd be like, nah, I'm good.
He loves Western influences.
Fine.
He's like a big music fan.
Just stop.
He falls in love with a girl. He has a pen pal from America. Bear Farmer says, if you could write for anyone except Batman or Spider-Man within Marvel or DC, who would it be? Last super chat gave me the idea. Anyone except for Batman and Spider-Man. I mean, obviously, there's so many that I would write for. I mean, I would love to do a run on Matt. Sleepwalker is a character that I think Tiffany needs to revitalize.
I really have I don't want
it's
to.
Just he could be better. He could be the biggest Vertigo book from Marvel, but they won't because they're cowards. But there's so many different characters that I would love to write for when it comes to the Marvel or DC. But I take anything. I'm very much about Tom and his approach when it comes to that, where it's like I don't have.
How can I make him sad?
Right. How do I make them sad? No, it's like I don't have pitches, but I will take them. Like
I'll take them.
Right. But no, it's like
Mm.
if you tell me, Sal, you're hired, you have to write for Elongated Man.
Yeah.
I'll make it work.
Okay.
Hayden Hamilton, Justice League show, Wonder Woman was also great, but Danny Warren Johnson is fire. Agreed. Yeah, no, I actually did like the JLU Wonder Woman.
Did you see walking around the con? There was someone dressed up. They were Clark Kent and Lois Lane from the animated.
No,
like, she walked by and I was like, "You are Lois Lane."
Yeah, I did
like,
not.
She
see
had
that.
the purple heels,
right?
The whole thing. And
Yeah.
immediately, my brain was like, "And there it is." She is. I did not recognize him initially. It was all about her.
Yeah, that's so funny.
Like I was like, that like outfit is ingrained in my brain as like reporter professional.
Gee, do you think that might have something to do with the like outfit that James Gunn Lois Lane's outfit is?
She has a little purple there for sure.
She
for sure.
is just straight up animated series.
It's not because she has a white skirt. It's a white pleated skirt
in the animated series.
Just saying. Anyway.
Terrence W says, "Hi Tiffany and Sal. Hi. I'm the guy that approached y'all at San Diego Comic-Con earlier this year and showed you my comic on an iPad. I remember you were leaving the main doors to go into the lobby. Just want to say thank you for your time, and we appreciate your kind words." Well, thank you very much, Terrence. Thanks for sharing your work with us.
Yeah, and hopefully all is going well. With that. I know a few creators that we met
at New York Comic Con
who are also members of our community, shared some books with us. We haven't had a chance to look at those yet.
It's true. We just have.
There has not been enough hours in the day since the end of the convention.
Yep.
But yeah, thank you so much for sharing your work with us.
We do appreciate it. A Secret Boss. I heard there's another way to give away. There's another giveaway. Slips $5. It's over. Sorry, but maybe next time. BK Sakuga, got to meet you guys on Saturday. I was nervous, lol, but glad I did. Thoughts on Williamson, Batman, and Robin? I'm liking it. It's over, so we hope you enjoyed it. But it was fun. I enjoyed it myself. Batman has character. Damian it has more effort and work put into him than he had in previous years. But yeah, it was really great meeting you. And don't worry, it didn't come across. So you were awesome. Don't worry whatsoever about it. You were great. Psycho Jet Black says, must be hard for Sal to be a Spider-Man fan because the MCU and Sony will never give you the movie that you want. Same for Tiffany and Doctor Strange movies. It is. Yeah, no, it's hard.
It is.
Kate, we get glimmers of it.
But like, I'm really not. Like, I'm not like it's.
Yeah.
Like, I want that? Sure.
Yeah.
But do I have plenty of books where that is? And I can create the movie in my mind. Yeah. Like, it's fine.
No, it's true. Brody Daniels says, have you ever read the No Man's Land novelization? Picked it up by accident thinking it was an omnibus. No. And I have also been tricked in that. I had a Batman book from years ago. I grabbed that awful like Venom Factor novel, which Ben also read.
5.
I think it's, but yeah, Ben also read that book too. But I read it as well.
That sounds right.
All because it's like, it's a book. I'm like, oh, Spider-Man. He slung his web and swung. I'm like, oh, damn it, this sucks. Jeremiah Muhammad, first episode I've caught in years. Kind of gave up on Big 2 after the DC Rebirth thing. Happy to be back. We're happy to have you, Jeremiah. Welcome back, man. Hope you enjoy what's coming out from DC and Marvel now. Hayden Hamilton, I want Sal for Beta Ray Bill and Tom King for Detective Chimp. I would greenlight that. Both those things.
100%.
Psycho Jet Black, will Sal or Tiffany do Superman smashes the Klan? Maybe.
Yeah.
We have them.
How about this? The list of ever-growing things that sounds like you have to cover this someday is getting a little overwhelming.
I know. I'm sorry. We just need to start getting you back.
It's like someone asking me to read One Piece.
Yeah, you need to you need to be fired so that we can just have you do that more regularly.
Such a terrifying thing to say.
RLC Comics. I met Sal and Tiff at Baltimore Comic Con 8 years ago.
Wow.
You guys are still my favorite channel. I'm rereading Bendis' Daredevil run. Would you guys consider doing it or other Marvel Knights era books on packages? Totally. No, I want to. It's just a question of like, what do we start with? Where do we go from there? And what do I have in the library?
And thank you so much for remembering meeting us 8 years ago. That's really kind of you.
Yeah.
Thank you. And thank you for sharing that.
Exactly. I do remember your screen name, so that is saying something. But all right, let's talk about some book of the week. What's the book of the week?
Oh crap, that's really hard for me.
I know. There's so many books that were fantastic.
I have 2 that I'm like really torn between. Because,
what are they?
Because I'll be honest, like Moon Knight Fist of Khonshu #1 was so like solid, such a great like jumping on point for folks who might want to get in on like some Jed McKay Moon Knight action.
Absolutely.
Just like, hey, check it out. Here's the cast. Here's like kind of what we might be doing in this like story arc. And here's just Moon Knight being real cool. And I'm like, I love that. But I think it has to go to Batman Full Moon #1 because that was so great.
I think I will also go with Batman Full Moon.
Right?
Because
come on.
because every time I say like this is the Batman book I've been looking for, this is actually it. This is what I want Batman. This is what I want Batman the main series to read like all the time.
I'm glad this was a Black Label book, but that said, this should have been when they relaunched Legends of the Dark Knight.
Yes.
Because this is a Legend of the Dark Knight.
Yeah, Legend of the Dark Knight that relaunched was not great.
Right.
And then it died. And it's like, oh, hard to believe. But like, yeah, this is great. This is awesome.
Yeah.
Shout out to Nightwing for its like run, and special shout out to Spider-Man, Ultimate Spider-Man, because
yeah. But now let's talk about books that are coming out this week. Before we start that, I want to give a huge shout out to the cover scheme for the like
all
books
in
for it's not all of them because Action obviously is breaking the mold on that one. But when you look at Detective and Nightwing and Green Arrow and Flash and Harley, they have a look.
Yeah, they have a look.
And like I'm impressed that they are like really cohesive about that.
I agree. No, it's fantastic.
Also, what is this week for me?
Oh my God.
Like
it's a big week for both of us.
It always is for Sal. Sal always has like 12,000 things. He's like, oh, I should probably read this. Oh, I should probably check this out. But when I look through what I have to read, this isn't fair.
No, it's not. Well, what's going to be your book of the week? At least Helena Winhorn didn't come out. But yeah, I'm going to try out Tom Taylor is leaving from Nightwing and going to Detective Comics. Number 1090 with Mikkel Yannon on art. Yeah.
This cover's gorgeous.
Great looking cover.
Complimentary colors.
Yep, there it is.
There it is.
Nightwing 119. I'm going to give it a try. Dan Waters, Dexter Soy. Let's see how it goes. We'll see. Superman 19 from Joshua Williamson and Dan Mora. I've read it already. It's awesome. You are not ready.
You've read it already.
Yeah, you're not ready, folks. You're not ready for what's happening in this book. Similarly, is this the anniversary issue? I believe it is.
The oversized anniversary issue featuring legacy numbering.
Green Arrow number 17, which I thought was the annual, but I guess it isn't. Either way, I'm reading it. This is Joshua Williamson, and I'm gonna say Nahul Pan. This, if it is the book I'm thinking of, if you're a fan of the show All Stars with me and Josh, if you're a fan of me or back issues, you are ill prepared.
This is 40 pages, so maybe this
you're ill prepared. But I think that also like the creative team that's taking over is also working on it, but I'm not sure. Folks, you are unprepared for what this book is going to have.
According to the cover, it's Joshua Williamson, Chris Condon.
Yep. So Chris Condon is the new writer on the book.
So yes, I believe this is the issue you're thinking of.
If it is, you're not prepared. There's two massive things happening in this book that you'll probably never see paid off ever in your lives. Ninja Turtles number 3 is coming out from Jason Aaron and Cliff Chong. Of course, we're doing the 4 issues with different artists, but it has been announced that Juan Ferreira is taking over as the regular artist on the series, which is awesome.
That is awesome.
Next week, you'll find out why we feel that way, but this book is going to be dope. I can't wait to read it.
Woo!
New Iron Man team, Spencer Ackerman and Julius Oda is working on Iron Man number 1. The new Iron Man armor is going to be nuts looking, and I'm like really excited for it. And the art scheme for this series is just something I'm like, I need to see where this is going. So I am really on board for this Iron Man. And of course, one of the longest titles from DC, JMD Mateus and Rick Leonardi are doing from the DC Vault, Death in the Family, Robin Lives, number 4, the final issue of the, I guess what they could have called Elseworlds book, but the imprint was not resurrected until they had already launched the series.
Sure.
What if kind of story for if Jason Todd didn't die.
Right.
There's more, and there's one that I'm really excited about, but I want Tiffany to talk about it.
I took it away. I was like, no, I'm gonna do this
exactly.
one.
But yeah, there's so many different books that are coming out, and I'm really hyped.
It's literally
not fair.
Insane. Are you gonna be reading Alien Romulus?
Nope. Nope, I'm good.
Oh my God.
I know.
Are you kidding me? Oh my God. I'm just scrolling right now without like saying anything because I just kind of wanted them all together. I wanted to see what that was.
Totally.
Okay. I can't. I gotta stop there. Right. We have to stop there.
Yeah.
It's just like, look at this amount of tabs.
I know.
There's too many tabs. Who's doing this? I don't know who that is.
I don't know you.
I still might check it out.
Yeah.
But like, all right. I won't. All right. where we're going to start here. Interesting. Okay, so DC's doing a DC Horror Presents, just FYI, if you're looking for something DC horror. Like, I just want to throw that out there because some people are looking for scary books around this time of the year.
Yep.
So just tossing that out there. Hunger in the Dusk, book 2, number 3 is coming out. G. Willow Wilson with art by Chris Wildgoose. You know I love this series.
Yep.
Dazzler number 2 is coming out. I like the first issue. I will check out the second issue. This is Jason Liu, who wrote that, Man-Wolf versus
Craven book. Yes.
Yeah.
Story.
I'm going to be checking that out to see if I'm going to... It's not a super long series, I don't think. I don't know that 100%.
I think it's short.
Flash number 14 is coming out. Cy Spurrier with art this time by
Vasco Georgiev.
Yes. Which is what I was about to say.
Look him up, folks. Look at his awesome Marvel DC crossover pitches. They're all over the internet, and they're amazing.
There you go. Zatana Bringing Down the House number 5, written by Mariko Tamake, art by Javier Rodriguez. I love the look of this book. I love this book. It's so weird and wild, and I'm looking forward to seeing Zatana come into her own power. Tin Can Society number 2 is coming out, written by Peter Warren, with art by Francesco Mobili. Really like the first issue of this. Can't wait to read the next one. Power Fantasy number 3, Kieran Gillen, Casper Wingard.
You talked to
coming
him.
out. Yeah.
You pronounced his.
I asked him. I was like, "How do you say it?"
And
I had him Wingard. He just said the J is silent.
Okay.
So I said it to him twice. That's what he told me in the convention floor. So it's all official. It's all I can go with.
Yeah.
It's just what
the man said his name sounds like.
Right.
Yes,
but like
you got
on the convention floor. So admittedly,
Oh, what, it was loud?
I'm not saying
you
it was
can stand
loud.
by it.
Yeah.
It's Casper Wingard.
But yeah, I had a chance to talk to Kieran about this and just how incredible it was. We had a nice conversation where I was like, listen, I brought him Sins of Sinister and I brought him Power Fantasy. And I was like, I want you to sign this because I loved you being part of Krakoa and everything that you added to it and all of that stuff. And I don't need to know anything that happened, why it happened, what happened at the end of everything there. But I just want you to know, like, I really appreciated it. And he did mention something where he was essentially like, it kind of just like stopped in a way. Like, all the creators were working together and then it just kind of stopped. Like, they didn't have like a time period to go like, okay, like this is over. Like, we've been working together. It just ended in the offices, essentially. Not that they're all working in an office together, but you know what I mean? And so like they had an opportunity for some of them to get together and like have like a drink and just kind of like talk about stuff and like tell stories and whatever. And I was like, that's so nice.
Yeah.
But I mentioned that like some of his experiences with that kind of poured into Power Fantasy. And I mentioned the essay and he was like, a lot of people have talked to me about that essay. And like, he's like, maybe I should just write that. And I'm like, no, please keep writing comics.
Yeah.
But it was very nice. So I literally can't wait for more of this. He's like, he's got so much in store for this series. So very much looking forward to anything he wants to put out about that.
Yeah.
Green Lantern Dark number 1 is coming out. This is an Elseworlds book.
Elseworlds.
I love your enthusiasm. This is written by Tate Bromble with art by Werther Del Edra. If you don't know that name, then you haven't been reading Something is Killing the Children. This is what the cover looks like. This is why Tiffany is very excited about it.
That looks like the Tangent Lantern.
That's what I'm saying.
Oh no. That's really exciting.
That's why I was like, you're not doing this. I'm doing this.
Oh, look, it's got she's got the thing.
That is literally my most favorite design for a Green Lantern ever is the Tangent Green Lantern.
Yeah.
I know I always say that John is my favorite.
But the Tangent Lantern.
But John is actually my character favorite. She is my favorite design.
Yeah. Seeing the Bullet logo and the Elseworld logo together,
it's insane.
Warms my heart.
Doesn't it? And also, doesn't it look a little bit like this, like book cover look to it?
Yeah.
Remind you of Detective?
Yeah. Yeah, the Rom V period.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And then of course, John Constantine, Hellblazer, Dead in America, number 10 is coming out.
Penultimate issue.
Yes. Penultimate issue, written by Cy Spurrier with art by Aaron Campbell. I am excited. And as I told Aaron, I was like, listen, I cannot wait for the next 2 issues, but I also don't want them to end. And I had mentioned that like issue 3, like definitely teared me up a bit. And that he's like, well, let me tell you, issue 11, we're going to be tugging at those heartstrings again. And he said that he got a little teary-eyed while he was doing it. And I was like, I'm not ready. But I can't hold off. Like, I'm just going to have to finish this. I know the last time I held off on reading the last issue because I just didn't want it to end. But this time I'm going to have to go for it when issue 11 comes out. But yeah, I'm very excited.
Yeah.
It's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous.
Well, so there you have it, everybody. We want to congratulate Mason for winning the Bad Idea contest for today. We want to thank everybody for pre-ordering Terminator #2, which, of course, will be coming out in November. Make sure to check out that. But moreover, just let your local comic store know you want the 5 issues of Terminator. And we'll be doing another giveaway at some point in the near future. And I will be, now that we're back from Comic-Con, I'll be to set up the winners of the contest from last week and ship those out. Did we talk about Absolute Wonder Woman? Did you mention that one too?
Oh my God, Absolute Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
Sorry, no. I thought you did for some reason.
No, that's you.
Oh,
you took it away from me so that you would talk
No,
about
I did. I just did Green Lantern.
I know, yeah.
That was the only one
took that one.
No,
away.
I didn't.
Oh, well, Absolute Wonder Woman.
Absolute Wonder Woman is coming out. Kelly Thompson with art by Hayden Sherman of well, many things, but Dark Spaces Dungeon fame. I literally I just don't talk to me. I just want to read this quietly somewhere. I can't wait. That's what I'm saying. Next week for me, I don't get it. It's like they're like, hey, just put out all of Tiffany's favorite books in 1 week. And I'm like, could we just space these out a little bit?
No.
Because then it's like each week, it's like, yay. Instead of just being like just hit after hit after hit, it just kind of loses the impact sometimes. And I don't love that.
No, I read
I'm not gonna be mad though.
I read the first page of Absolute Wonder Woman, and it's like,
you did?
Yeah, it's the ash can was on their desk.
I didn't see that.
We couldn't buy it. You weren't allowed to buy it.
I didn't.
Unless they were there.
Oh, but you know what I did get to do?
What?
I got to flip through Power Fantasy #3.
Oh, nice.
It looked amazing. Kieran was like, I have one here. Do you want to look at it?
That's right.
I was like,
doing that.
And that was not because I am on YouTube. He just was like, anyone who came up, is like, you want to look at it? I was like, yes. And I could have easily walked away with it, but I didn't. So I was like, you gave it back? And I'm like, well, it's not mine. And I gave it to the handler, and I was like, could you please make sure you get this back to Kieran?
Yeah. Dex Baker slipping in late because I'm late. Had to start. I need to start from the beginning. No problem.
Thank you so much.
Welcome
Dex,
back, man.
And we're happy to meet you here at the end.
And Hamilton. Comics have never been better, but I have to cut back on my pull list. The money just isn't there. Food versus Batman. Y'all met Henry, a true talent powerhouse. Yeah,
no, absolutely. I totally get that. There's so much coming out right now. People are going to have to start making cuts. I always feel like it's exciting. Like, this is exciting. Absolutely is launching, but it just means that people are going to have to start making decisions, and it's always rough.
Yeah, no, it's true.
And
we always tell you, like, folks, there are comics out there that are cheap. A lot of books diminish in value like a week after they come out. So they're going to be in long boxes, or maybe they'll be available online, or like when I say online, I mean to purchase online. Or you could talk to your local comic store and see if they're going to have a sale, or if they could give you a deal on like later, unsold copies. But either way, we want to thank you so much for hanging out with us. Thanks to the chat for being respectful and cool and awesome with each other.
And I love that someone right now has Halo music playing while we're still going, and I love it.
Yeah, I like that too. Yeah,
I want this as an epic background for us.
Thank you very much to the Super Chatters for sponsoring today's show. And of course, like this video, subscribe to our channel, click the bell for notifications so you know when we're going live. Check out Tiffany on stream, youtube.com @ComicPop Plays or twitch.tv/ComicPop. They're both the same place. They both show the same thing, but it's up to you about which one you prefer.
Earlier, if we're going to be still playing Silent Hill 2, the remake, yes. Please
Big
come
time.
by tomorrow. We're going to jump back into that. I think I might just turn the combat down. I just want to enjoy the game.
Just want to enjoy the game. Don't want to be challenged.
And I've heard like a lot of people out there just aren't a fan of it.
Yeah.
And I just want to enjoy the game. I just want to look at the environments and enjoy the new story.
You don't want to power through it.
No, I'm not looking to prove anything to anyone. I just want to enjoy it. So I'm thinking about just turning the combat down and just enjoying my game.
I think you should. But thank you all so much for being here. Of course, there's more. Stay tuned tomorrow for my chat with Rom V about New Gods, exclusively about New Gods.
I was there for it. It's a great chat.
It is a great chat. Big, long chat, multiple camera angles.
Yeah.
Well edited,
one of those cameras, I am just holding people.
Yeah. Yeah, we should have brought like a tripod.
We didn't know. We thought we'd be standing and the whole thing. But, anyway.
But it came out great and it looks really fun. And Rom is, of course, articulate and fun and interesting. There's so much more. Of course, I chatted with Jason Aaron, Scott Snyder. That's out right now. You can check out that right after this episode if you like. It's only 3 minutes. Not a big commitment.
But it's worth it.
But it is worth it.
They're fun.
It's fun. It's fun to see those two like play off each other. And I want to put out into the zeitgeist. Look, Absolute Batman versus Turtles, Absolute Turtles. I want to see another Batman Terminator or Batman Turtles crossover.
Yes.
Please, let's make that happen. Scott and Aaron working together. That'd be really fun.
Right?
But yeah, we'll see you guys next time. Of course, pre-order your Terminator books, and we'll see you guys next time with another episode of Off the Rack.
And we'll also see you guys next time.
Yeah.
Because we've said it a couple times.
Yeah. Well, and we'll see you again. Bye, everybody. So long. Or bye-bye.
Bye.